Uh, hello. I just started it. I don't think anybody's on yet because we just barely started right now.
Yeah,
Let
all
me
good.
make sure. Let me make sure that everything
If
is good.
anything, I can monitor from my phone. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so it is oh man, I keep getting his name wrong. But yeah, it is him. He just made a request, so we're gonna have a mariachi group tomorrow. This is gonna be awesome.
Nice. All right, let me set up the rest of my stuff. I got some trash to throw away. I finally
Yo,
posted
are
my
you hearing
my
like a
pictures.
buzzing?
It might be my mic has been making weird noises recently. I might need to send it in for repair.
Gotcha. Too
Is it
much of that DK heat.
is it
Oh,
coming? Do you hear it? Do you hear like?
it's gone now.
But it
It's
wasn't
gone now.
making like a sound.
Yeah, it sounded like almost like Flight of the Bees, or what is it? Yeah.
Flight of the Bumblebee. Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm gonna clean this shit up real quick. We're already live. I'm gonna ping the chat and then we'll kind of get
Cool.
started.
I'll kind of keep an eye out for the chat on my phone. Let me see here. Twitchy McNitchy. Ooh, it looks like DK's live. I gotta see this. Oh no, I gotta sub to DK. Come back, DK. I just subbed to you.
DK on the mix, bitch.
Just heard that.
DK on the mix, bitch.
Damn. I think I'm one of your top gifters, DK.
What happened?
I think I'm your top gifter. I'm
Top
on the
gifter.
leaderboard.
You're on the leaderboard right now. Look at that.
I'm number one.
Let me. You gifted it to Matthew. To Obscure Asian.
I did?
Yeah.
Obscure Asian. Now you got to gift it to DK.
I don't know if he's here. Let me ping him.
How did I do that?
It randomly picks who you gift to. It's a random.
Aw.
I gotta log in again. Give me a second.
This is hilarious. We're just on Twitch, and I'm just like gifting you subs on Twitch. That's our Twitch stream right now.
Yeah, I need to log into my shit real quick.
J Rush 31, what up?
Hello, hold on. Let me ping everybody here. Live stream chat.
All right, I think I know what I need to do in order for the world to be safe, and so I can actually have my coffee fix. I'm gonna have to Uber eat some Starbucks.
Hold on. YouTube.com /C /
Boom. I'm gonna use my emojis. I haven't used my emojis in so long. I need to actually live stream today now that I have the setup up again. Uh oh yeah, you know what? In honor of Ari Lennox and her unreleased music, here you go. Pikachu attack.
What?
Yeah. So do you remember that Ari Lennox released that like whiteboard full of like 60 or so songs? I made a
Yeah.
post about it that I had worked on like a ton of them. But one of them that the one I wish worked, the one that I wish will come out was Pikachu Attack. I didn't work on it, but I wish I did. But I really hope it comes out because I can only imagine what a song by Ari Lennox called Pikachu Attack can sound like. Obscure Asian, you got the gifted sub.
Hello, J Rush. What up? I'm looking at the multi-stream right now. Hello, yeah, Obscuration got the sub. Oh, heavy Japanese accent already, bro. We're already in it.
Wait, oh yeah.
Hold on, here it is. Here it is. Hello, welcome to the Mixing Music Podcast with my lovely co-host Luis Moreno.
So I kind of figured I think the only way I can accurately do a bad accent is if I do like an American speaking Spanish badly. So is that allowable?
A what?
Like poorly spoken Spanish?
Think so.
Okay. Hola, mis amigos.
Can you
Me
do
llamo
poorly? Can you
Luis.
do poor English, like a Mexican English?
I tried last time. It's really hard for me because English is my first language. Not my first. English is my second language, but I was educated in English, so I never got the accent. The only person in my family that actually stuck with the accent was my mom, but nobody else has the accent in my family.
No, I don't have the accent. I'm wondering, can you try to mimic your mom? That's what I'm
All
doing.
right.
Basically, just
Oh
mimicking
man.
my mom.
Oh. Hi.
Oh.
Oh. Um. You know, you should really watch Mixing Music. A ver, ¿cómo se llama? Mixing Music Podcast. Porque Luis, like he and his friend DK El Chino, you know, he talked about like the music, you know, and like he you know, like things like that. You should watch it.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Because I'm like,
that's funny.
I really had to think about it because I'm like, damn, like she just talks to me in Spanish.
Lu's favorite color is purple. Lu very much likes purple.
Oh no, wrong color. There we go.
Lu disappear. Lu, どこですか? Lu, where are you? Where is Lu? Scooby
Louie, Louie, Lou.
Where are Lu?
We got some podcast to do now.
Yeah, pleasure me.
So this is kind of funny. Actually, I don't know if Braden's in the chat or not. I don't know if Braden's in, but now that I'm like deskless, I'm just like,
oh, you already swapped out the desk?
Yeah, you didn't notice that the thing in front of me
I'm now
is
noticing. I literally. Well, you're technically with the desk. What I think he means by like deskless is like he literally
like
doesn't
on
have
his
anything.
lap.
Yeah.
I wanted to go as minimalistic. There
You're
was
like
a point where
minimal
I even
desk.
thought to myself, I'm like, you know what? I want to just do this.
Yeah, like I think
as
we're
far as my
both
fingers
in like,
can span is as much of a desk as I need.
I think we're in the minimalist setup. I don't think we're quite deskless. I think we're minimalist.
I just want to see what it would be like to have that. But I tried doing what Braden does, which is just, you know, working off of his lap. I just found it a little weird because like I like using trackball and like a full size keyboard. I know a lot of people are used to using it without the numeric pad because they're used to like the laptop or whatever, or just short form keyboards. but like it's too wide of a setup to just sit on my lap. I think somebody else was telling me that they bought one of those Office Depot keyboards where it just has the trackpad built into the keyboard.
Mitch Please says, gotta watch out for those forehead reflections. Have you heard the story?
I know. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you
About
heard
how
about who said
Braden
it?
asked Jesse why he
yeah.
has the monitor on the floor.
Yeah. I'm like, bro, how little skin do you have on your forehead?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I don't doubt that might be a thing, but man, we're getting into like the classic I can hear dither level.
Oh God, yeah. Somebody asked me that, like, so which dither did you choose? I'm like, well, to be honest, I just read the manual and the one that says it's the cleanest. Like, I hate to admit that as a mastering engineer, but
No,
there's
I
a
think that's
certain
fair,
point where
dude.
you're kind of just lying for the sake of your
Yeah, bro.
clients.
For anybody that knows anything, it's like, at least I know you're not a liar.
Yeah.
My goodness,
time,
that
like-
shit makes me laugh so hard.
Like, have you ever talked to people about like what settings you use on a compressor? I'm like, well, have you read the manual? And my favorite thing is like to ask people that, because it's not to be mean or anything, because it's really not. It's really not. But somebody recently reached out to me. They're like, "Hey, bro, like, what's your favorite vocal setting for this compressor?" I'm like, "Oh, well, typically I use 3-to-1. Like, I'm not really thinking about the compressor. I'm just thinking about like what I like, because I like it to be a little tighter, not so loose." And he's like, "Oh, but the compressor only has 2-to-1 or 4-to-1." I'm like, I don't know. Like, 2-to-1 would be my next best bet. Like, I don't know what your vocal sounds like. What, dude? Read the manual. And then I looked up the manual and I just told him what the manual said. It's like, for vocals, 2-to-1 ratio with a fast release. It's like, cool. And he's like, "Oh man, you use that every time?" I'm like, not really. It's just what the manual said, and I got chewed out. He's like, "Oh, bro, I'm asking you for your settings." I'm like, "I don't use that compressor every day. I'm sorry. Like, I use it, but I don't use it every day. Like, I didn't even realize there wasn't a 3-to-1 on it. I'm really sorry. I'm just telling you my general go-tos."
Dude, I'm looking forward. I got the beta for the Kive distressor one that they're working on.
Oh yeah, I
And
can't wait to check that out.
they're it's dope. It's got a separate saturation knob, and then next to the saturation knob there's a warmth knob, which like takes off the top end in like a saturated kind of way. And it sounds fucking amazing, actually. I take anytime there's like vocals with like that 12 to 14K hiss or whistle that I hate so much, slap that on and it works amazing.
You know, I recently had to master a song that's like that, where I sent back in the notes, I'm like, "Hey, there's something like whistling up there or something going on. Like, it's anything above 10K, like almost anything above 8K is just a little bit too aggressive." But it wasn't like it didn't sound like a top end boost that they did, like where you could just shelve it off and it come back down. It's like they harmonically added, you know, a lot up there. And after 2 revisions, they still brought it back to me a lot darker, and those problems were still there. Surprisingly enough, I actually just went into RX to master the song. I actually went and looked for each peak on that, and I just took them down.
Oh,
and
can you?
then I brought it back into Pro Tools.
Oh, real quick, can you give me permission to record?
Oh yeah, totally. Let me see here, Mr. DK. Señor DK quiere grabar. Le voy a dar permiso al señor. Deja grabar. Okay, ahora tienes permiso.
Host allows you to record the meeting.
Huh?
Yeah, no, it just came up. Host allows you to record the meeting. So anybody here there right now? Everybody say hello if you're in the chat. Hello.
Hello.
What up, J Rush? I'm going back to work. You taught me to take breaks. Thanks for all the tips. Keep it up.
Nice. Now I'm gonna be going back to Cali. No, just kidding. I'm terrible. That's a terrible joke.
Yeah, we'll take breaks often, right? Well, we're about to get started.
Oh yeah.
In about 15 minutes, we'll have Busyworks come through. Busyworks Beats is his YouTube channel. He's got a YouTube channel of about 850,000 subscribers. Has
Damn.
online courses, templates. Is on Instagram. Hello, Matthew. Are you at the studio still? Obscure Asian, are you still at the studio?
Wait, is Obscure Asian at the studio? DK,
That's
you're
Matthew.
Gone. Oh, okay, that's
Wait.
Matthew.
You know who? You know the new guy.
Yeah. That's why I was like, wait a minute, that's who Obscure Asian is?
Yeah.
I did not realize that at all.
Yes. Hello. That's why I was laughing when Obscure Asian got it. I am at the studio.
Question. I hate to ask you, Matt. Could I have a water? Like, I'm really thirsty and my coffee spilled earlier. Like, I haven't had anything to drink outside of like a bottle of water that I had at home like 4 hours ago. Like, I'm really about to order this Starbucks because like I need something. My poor coffee, it literally spilled all over my tools.
Bro, I got the best thing ever. I got this double-sided tape.
What tape? Let me see this tape. That's clear. How much weight can it hold?
Is it gonna zoom in? A
One
lot.
day?
The biggest review for it. The biggest review for it says, like, all the reviews says, however much you use, it's still gonna be too much.
What the hell?
It's hella,
That's
it's like
good.
super strong. Like you can put up your 50-inch TV with a few strips of this.
What?
It's like super strong. It's not like tape. It's only like 10 feet because it's really thick.
Yeah.
But it's super duper strong. And I just took like 2 tiny little slices and put them. I put the Grammy poster up finally on my. You can see the Grammy poster on my door. Also, everybody notice zoom in onto the studio phone where my face is on it.
Huh?
Nothing.
My new studio?
And then finally got the Grammy poster up on the door, and then I got my
Oh,
2
yeah.
pieces of art, my little canvas art pieces. I wish I could show them and bring them off the wall, but it's probably too stuck to the wall recently. Now that I've put it up.
The little
I'm gonna
magazine we
make
got
this
at the
little-
thing.
I've been making more and more art recently. Here, I'll show you another piece that I made that I can move around.
Oh, I like that.
Is it gonna focus? There you go.
Yeah, it focused.
Kind of interesting. I don't know. I was just kind of testing out squares. I was like testing out squares, so like the ones on the back of the wall. I don't think I could take it off, but if you check my Instagram, there's like a little zoom in photo of it, of this piece right here. I love this one a lot, and this is just like an impressionist piece with a bunch of different colors. Since I can't actually draw, it's actually on mini canvas. I might make a bunch of mini ones, give them out.
Here we
Sell
go.
it on
Found
on
it.
huh?
Found it.
There you go. There you go. Pretty cool. Oh yeah, I
Boom.
could have literally just done that with my phone. Now realizing.
Probably would have focused up better on yours, to be honest.
Let me see if it does. Oh, it's too bright though. I'm gonna have to turn down the brightness.
There we go. That looks good.
I really, really like the one on top, the 3 lines. I like that one a lot. But today we're gonna talk to Busy Works. I don't know what to call him. Should I call him Busy Works? Anyway, we'll introduce ourselves.
B-Dub.
B-Dubs.
B-Dubs. I'm sure he would hate it. No. Dude, I've been building a lot of panels lately, and it's actually been kind of cool. Like, I retreated my entire room for significantly less and managed to build like a ton of extra panels for everybody. Like, I built 2 for Henry, I built 10 for Bryson.
Maybe we should do that after this interview episode. We should do an episode about building panels and your experience.
the rewardingness of just honestly, if you
or
want to
like
find a good way to
materials
relieve
cost.
stress,
Yeah, like how you built it, materials cost, and like
yeah,
and
I guess common practice, ways to keep costs down, way to
could you
keep it
talk for at
efficient.
least 20 minutes about it?
Oh yeah, we can talk longer than that. I mean, literally, it probably takes me less time to build a panel. Yeah, no joke. The way I've systemized it, like it should take me no longer to make 4 panels in 1 hour.
Oh, so before we start, I'm gonna go take. The reason why, for anybody that's wondering, the reason why I'm in my own room and Lou's in his own room and Lou's not with me is because I have like a head cold. I tested negative twice in the last like 3-4 days. In the last couple days when it started happening. So I don't have COVID, but I just feel like shit. I just don't want to give it to the boy, to my boy, my man's.
Especially since I'm freshly out of COVID myself.
Yeah, and then so I'm gonna go get some medicine real quick and also come back with a little treat. For me.
I wonder.
For me.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, like, damn. Yeah, Mitch, honestly speaking, like next time you're in town, if you want to know more about the panels, honestly, just hit me up. Like we can build some. It's a really good stress reliever to just do woodworking in general. Like I'm gonna be building my own desk as my next project. So I'm gonna go on Amazon. I'm gonna look up some like really nice legs and everything. I might even do like a standing desk, like convertible kind of legging kind of thing, which would actually be really cool. But honestly speaking, the next thing I really need to do is just build myself a really nice rack. Like I wanna build it myself. I know I can buy it, but one, it'd be a lot cheaper if I built it myself. I'd actually be a lot more satisfied with the quality of it if I just built it myself too, because I want certain types of wood and everything. But I actually just want to get creative with it. Like, what if I did some heart work on the sides? Let's see. Oh, DK's back and he's got a cup. Oh yeah, DK. I can't find my color changing Starbucks cup anymore. Nitro. Wait.
Might be the B room people.
No, I
Or
know,
the
I know.
clients of the B room people.
No, I know. That's one thing I wanted to check camera for, but I'm good to
It's
be
too
honest.
late
I
now,
spent
bro.
yeah, exactly.
You're not gonna make me go back within.
That the thing is, I
sometime in the
wouldn't be
last
able to
month.
prove a timeline either. Like there's no way for me to prove anything outside of knowing the moment it happened. You know what I mean? So either way, it only cost me $4 on that one, but like I'm the only one with Starbucks cups in our entire team.
I took the DK mug home, not on purpose.
Oh, you did?
Not on
Yeah,
purpose.
for
I'm
that?
planning on bringing it back, but
Yeah. I don't know. The only one that I have here now is my green one.
by the way, do you know what this is? This is the Pepsi Nitro, the vanilla
it's
Pepsi Nitro. Look at the
yeah,
foam.
it's supposed to be like coffee soda.
Or yeah, like Guinness beer type nitrous oxide nitrous infused,
Yeah. Damn.
nitrogen infused cola.
You know, I'm surprised with all the bubbles you managed to not spill.
Oh yeah, no, it fits perfectly in this cup.
Yeah.
So it's actually
It does
like
look
super
like
smooth.
a Guinness. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and that's the way it's supposed to be. And the head is actually like really creamy and like really good. Oh,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those guys
And-
that if you ever pour me a beer and it has head on it, like I immediately proceed to criticize.
some creamy head. That was one of the jokes, is that we all got it during the NAM weekend. So Mitch, I accidentally said to everybody, no, I didn't accidentally. I said it on purpose. But this is the vanilla one. So, and it's some. This is my last one, by the way, Mitch. And I always said like, oh, this is some creamy head, and then everybody started laughing.
Bunch of perverts, you all. Dude, honestly speaking, I actually am very excited for us to get that latte machine. That espresso machine, not latte machine. That espresso machine.
Yeah.
Just because I'm kind of like looking at it as like I'm more excited for the idea of better quality lattes than I am about lattes in general, because we already have lattes.
Yo, so technically, okay, so after I asked you about like beans and stuff, I went home, and since then I've probably put in like 10 hours of research, probably a little bit more because it's been then as well. But technically, that machine does not make so coffee.
Because it's just press. That's all it's doing.
Well, it's not pressuring at the right temperature. It's not pressuring at the right temperature and the right pressure and the right timing. So it's only supposed to take 25 seconds. And the fact that it takes like a minute or two is extremely alarming. It makes it not espresso.
Yeah.
So like if we get a proper espresso machine, then you'll have like proper espresso with like actual counted shots and whatnot. And so like there's a couple
and it'll
videos where
actually be
people-
creamy.
Yeah, with like a proper crema or whatever the hell it is. What happened? Who did this? Who did this?
Who did what?
New subscriber. That must be on YouTube or something. Hello, thanks for subscribing on YouTube. What up? But anyway, this soda, it's the Nitro Pepsi. It's really, a lot of people don't like it because it feels like flat soda, but it's actually really great. What up, Braden? So, Lou, I'm thinking one thing. Stop. I'm thinking one thing. One thing we're thinking about doing is once we sell. So the whole point of the exclusive episodes is a way to like, secrets, right? Behind the scenes secrets. It's a way to monetize the audience a little bit. And it's actually super duper good. The ones I don't know if you've heard the episodes. I can give you the RSS feed for free that you can lock into.
I was gonna say I don't exactly have access to it.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. You listen to it, it's really good. Braden does a really great job. In fact, it's so good, in fact, that I think that after we come out with merch or more online classes or something else, another way that we can promote our own product and a way to monetize the group, then I'll make them completely for free.
Nice.
I just have 3 times the amount of episodes. So like you and I will do the main content. It'll still be the DK and Lou thing. And then we'll have like short 15 to 20 minute episodes every or at least something like that. I like the idea of at least making one of them exclusive. And so it's like 2 episodes a week are free. And then if you want the 3rd episode a week, then it's paid. Something like that. We haven't quite figured out exactly what it is, but this week I'll be working on merch for the podcast.
Nice. If I can ask for one thing, it's a Letterman jacket. Yeah.
I don't know if
you get one with your face on it. I get one with my face on it.
That might have to be custom. That might be custom for us.
Dude, I'd totally pay for it either way.
Yo, low key, that's actually.
Dude, we could pull up to places with that. And then,
low key, dude. Wow.
Yo, and this would be the fun one. Here's the fun merch. All right, ready? Hear me out. Just hear me out. Swim shorts. Each one of us is on a cheek.
Just like booty shorts.
the
gymnastic
Hoochie Daddy shorts.
The cotton gymnastic shorts. That's what we're doing.
Nah, we got to do the wrestling onesies.
Bro, I used to wrestle. Those things were always a little bit uncomfortable.
Oh, we got Busy Works trying to get in.
All right, let's let him in. On time, too. Wow.
I know. Yo.
What up?
Wad, what's going on? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. How you guys feeling? What's going on?
We're over here just kind of planning merch. We're thinking about putting our faces on swim shorts, but on the cheek side.
Each
one face
on a
per
butt.
cheek?
One face per cheek.
That's hilarious.
So,
that is actually.
So should we call you on the show? Should we call you Busy Work? Should we call you by your real name? What do you want us to call you on the show?
Oh yeah, it's usually just whatever people know me. Whatever they call me or how they know me. So Busy's cool. Busy Works, anything really. Busy Works, Game. Some people know me as. I actually respond to my nickname more than my actual name, which is hilarious.
Okay, that's good to know. So we'll probably call you Busy during the show. And we're not recording yet, so is it possible for you to record your own voice in your own DAW while this is going on?
Let me hit record.
So, and then you send me not yet. We're not ready to record. Probably brainstorm for like 5 minutes before we get started. But everybody say hello to Busy Works
hello.
Beats. What
going
up,
on?
Dane, Mitch, Braden, Lou's in the chats.
Of course I'm in the chat.
we, yeah. So what's the color scheme for the merch though? Sell me on these shorts.
We were.
All
we
right,
have
so
not
I'm thinking
decided.
like violet, like kind of lavendery kind of colors. Then you'd see like our icon faces. Which DK, do you have a way of pulling those up by any chance?
I wonder if I can. Can I screen share?
You
Am
know
I
what?
allowed?
I can just go to our Instagram.
You have to
Boom,
enable
boom.
screen share.
No, I'll just point it at the camera. All right. Mixing, music, fan cast. Yeah, there we go. Boom.
Fancast. What?
I don't know. I was just making things up.
But we
Winging it.
recently started doing. So we're trying to figure out. Busy. We've been trying to. This is off stream, right? Or I mean, it is on stream, but like off the content. Here's our logos. It's just a
Sick.
Oh,
Yeah, with the
God.
that fusia colors.
I think you've seen it. I think you've seen it before.
Yeah.
But
So imagine each one of those on one of your cheeks.
That is good for guys and girls. I think would buy that.
Yeah. It'll
I'm
be
gonna
the
be
new
hella
Hoochie
wearing
Daddy
that
trend.
shit.
Would you
Make
say
my
a
wife-
daddy trend?
It's the new Hoochie Daddy shorts.
Oh, hoochie. Like in the 70s when they used to wear shorts up to their thigh crease. Goodness, they were wearing them
Back
high.
when it was like, yo, if you too big, it's a problem.
You are silly, man.
And,
Super silly.
But yeah, so we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna write down exactly what you said. We've done episodes about like branding and creating content, but I'd love to talk about, if possible, if we go deeper on your side of stuff. You said business advice, social media, revenue, branding, like growth, more so what it takes to even be considered for a placement or contract deal, the stuff that builds your foundation. So we've talked about like general branding and why you want to build social media content and things like that. I think if we can stay within that lane, but get extra specific, and you talk about how you've seen people or how you yourself has built contact in the eyes of a producer and how producers can utilize that, like exactly what you said, considered for placement or any sort of contract deal. So like
Sure.
more specific rather than general content, specific kind of thing, branding and content there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
How does that feel?
Yeah, I'm from Clubhouse land. So Clubhouse, we could talk about a gazillion things. So if we need to be flexible, I'm not super, you know what I mean? I'm not.
No worries. I think the only thing is that statistically speaking, podcasts in general, but specifically our show as well, the deeper we get into a topic, the deeper and more precise we get into a topic, the more views it's going to get. Which is going to be great for if we kind of go like super broad, it's just going to get less listens or downloads is the stats there. So otherwise, the show is max an hour, like 20 minutes to an hour. So as long as we need to take, but honestly, this is super chill. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to record the Zoom chat now.
Recording in progress.
I'm
Okay,
recording
record.
the live stream, and I'm recording my voice now on Pro Tools.
Alright.
Are you
Let me
recording on Pro Tools,
see.
Lou?
Lou voice.
I'm recording in 3
Up right
places.
now.
Back up
Gotcha.
to my backup to my backup.
Sound reference ID doing its thing as always.
Oh, when you load up,
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
yeah, and it's just there. It's just like exit. I don't even know how to turn it off the load up screen.
There you
Bro, I
go.
love Sound
Boom.
Hey, I saw. Was it your
No,
tweet?
I like Sound ID, but I don't know if you know this, DK. I don't know if I communicated this recently, but I have not used the calibration in over a month.
Oh, you got to recalibrate.
Ever since I put these big panels in, I just haven't been using the calibration at all.
Dude, you with the black panels and the black shirt, you just kind of like disappear. It's just a floating head and a
That's what I was
chain.
thinking.
But
Oh my
Dude,
god,
it-
the sample rate changes making you sound so funny. Dude, why is Sound ID doing this? I'm gonna close it out and open it back up.
But bro, Busy, I saw. Was it your tweet? Was it a tweet or something like that? You said like, yo, people are not starting to realize, these companies need to realize, these content creators, we're smarter than we think we are. We're not going to promote products for free.
Yeah.
I'm recently, the reason why I bring this up is because it's literally within the last 3 to 6 months where we started noticing a lot more people have been hitting us up and like, it's not feasible for us to do this for free anymore. So I've been like trying to, and then like half the people that have been emailing us thinking that we'd do it for free, like after I sent them a quote, like this is how much it's gonna cost, they like stopped emailing me, and it's like I'm getting to that point now where it's like I have a little bit of influence, just a little.
Right, as you should. And I found that, I don't want to give away all the gems just yet, but I found that when it comes to people who have that potential, like if you look at stocks, for example, there's different stages. There's the baby phase, there's the toddler phase, and then you have the adult mature phase. So these companies are, there's a different pocket for people who are already mature, like 800,000 subscribers on YouTube folks. But then they're also looking for the people who have that potential to grow, because the whole point is, like an ad, how do I turn $1 into 10?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
more.
in YouTube is the evergreen content kind of thing. Is that I know in podcasts, like people oftentimes start from your first episode. So it's like when the podcast is released doesn't really affect. But on YouTube, how does timing go into ads and collecting placements?
Mm-hmm. Oh, did we start? My bad.
No, we're not starting.
Oh, no, we
now.
haven't started. We're just making chit chat.
Oh, okay, because I'll go in if you want me to answer this question.
No,
but
is this still considered evergreen?
Not the same way. Like the way they determine your authenticity or your social proof, yeah, but not like it depends on your channel. There's two types of channels. There's search-based, and then you have interruption-based. So mine is a search-based channel. People look at my recent videos, they see 2,000 views. They don't understand that I'm getting 3 million views in the month or 1 million views in the month across 3,000 videos. They just see, what's your latest video? Did you get 50,000 views? It's not how YouTube works.
Yeah.
You know what? That's actually a good way for even startup YouTubers to actually look at things, like look at the broad picture versus each individual upload. Just because, like, I'm not gonna lie, like I've uploaded a video or two in the past. Like I'm not a YouTuber whatsoever, but sometimes I kind of look at things like a year later and I'm like, I got like 1,000 views in the year. Like I didn't realize those would even be there. Like it's not an actively promoted video, but it's still there.
Exactly, because they're not to get geeky with it, but their algorithm works on it's like Inception or like the rabbit hole. Once you see one video, it suggests another one, and once you go to that one, it just keeps going.
We got to get this on the pod too. Hey, before we get started on the actual recording, Busy, is there any topics or specific things, like using your channel as an example or anything that you want me to avoid saying on recording or asking?
Oh no, I'm not PC at all. I'm not gonna curse and rant, but I'm not.
No, but I mean, like, do you not want me to, like, I know some people are like, hey, don't use mine as an example. Like, let's use other people's or anything like that. You're good? Can I ask you, like, I can ask you more personal stuff about your content?
For sure. Politics, religion. I'm not off
like
bounds. I think good conversation requires, like exploration a little bit.
Cool. So let's get started then. Are you recording, Lou?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's all sync up. I'm going to clap on the count after 3. We're going to do it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, sweet. That should sync us up in our audios. And we're going to get us started. I'm going to get us started. Oh, Lou, nickname. Do you want a nickname?
Oh, yeah. Damn. We already used Lou Adipa.
The Looney Tunes?
I think we used that one before, to be honest.
What about Ludacris?
Luda.
Is that copyrighted?
Yeah, we can do that.
Let's do Luda then. Here we go. Hello and welcome back to the Mix of Music Podcast. I'm your host, DK, and with me, as always, is my lovely co-host, my partner in crime, Luda.
I want to say, move, Mitch, get out my way. That's right. That's for you, Mitch. That's for you, Mitch.
And we are live right now on live stream. We are on Twitch. We are on YouTube. We are on everything, trying to be on everything. And today we have a very special guest. This man has a YouTube channel, a very successful YouTube channel, is incredibly helpful, a wonderful teacher on Clubhouse, has a very insightful social media presence on Instagram, TikTok, and various other things. I think you have about almost 850,000 subscribers on YouTube, right? With crazy numbers. The king of branding and business in the one of the very best in the music industry. Big shout out, very big welcome to Busy Works Beats.
Hey, thank you for the warm introduction. I appreciate you. D.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we're very grateful that you can be on the show, and we're especially excited for the knowledge you can drop with us. I know many of our listeners are producers, or they're engineers that also produce, or producers that also engineer in various different capacities, from beginner to intermediate, even some advanced folks. So I'm really excited for the knowledge, because I think what we're going to talk about today is, we've talked about branding and creating content and various things in the past, but today we're going to talk about that specifically for producers who are hoping to get placements or build a brand that is viable on whatever, BeatStars, or getting client deals to kind of, for the focus and purpose of monetizing your music. And let's get started right off the bat. Like, tell us a little bit about your journey and how you've kind of figured all this shit out.
Yeah, well, the short of it is that, after training over 800,000 producers around the world, some have gone to work with Drake, Post Malone, YG, Ray Shrimmer, Ariana Grande. Did I say Post Malone? Yeah. Trippie Redd, J. Cole, Kanye, Drake. I start overlapping the names. Basically everybody on the billboard. Shout out to everybody. Multi-platinum, diamond, and even Grammy-winning producers. So after you've seen your process work over and over and over and over and over again, you start to lose doubt. It's just a matter of the process at that point. And after 3,000 videos for free, that's just the free stuff. You kind of learn what works, where the vein of success is, how to spot success, what's the DNA for success. And you realize the reality of the music business. Without digging down the rabbit hole, it really does come down to connections, relationships, branding. That's it. Skill does not truly matter like that. I want to break some myths too for your podcast. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole without you.
Even better, bro. The more myths we can break. I want to write that down. Hold on. You said connections, relationships,
and what did I say? Connection, relationships, and branding.
Branding. Let's break some myths, man. What's a brand off, or a myth off the top of your head?
Top of the head for producers and engineers. The number one I've seen for engineers, they're scared to take pictures in the studio. Killshot, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
See, Killshot embraces taking pictures with the artist. He's not looking at it like it's clout chasing. Killshot is legitimately in these sessions. He's legitimately chosen by these folks. Why not capture a picture? Not a video, because some people don't want their music in the video. We get it. But a picture with who you're working with. It only elevates your brand. The way success works is like this. And shout out to Killshot. I don't know if you guys study religious texts, but the Bible, for example, has a book called the Book of Kings. And in the whole Book of Kings, it outlines the royal genetics. It goes, this king was beget from this king, and that king was begot from that king. And it just goes on and on and on. You're like, what's the importance of this book? And if you dig deeper, it's people are trying to find the lineage of Jesus Christ, for example. If Abraham started this tree of lineage and genetics of holy people, then there must be something in these holy people. And my point is, back in the day, they used to think that kings were under God. They were basically God's representative on earth. So back in the day, have you heard of the knighting process?
No. Go
or
ahead.
Ceremony, I mean?
The knighting ceremony, I have not. Please
where
explain.
they just kind of like dink dink, congratulations, you're a knight.
Right.
Like in the
It's a
Minions movie?
Yeah, and dove each side, exactly. The point of that ceremony, the point of the ritual is to show that, remember, back in the day, people used to see the king and the queen as like a God representative on earth. So even on the back of our dollar, it says, in God we trust, because we're using secondary reinforcement to add value to that dollar, because we think that we can exchange it for something later down the line. And who do we trust more than ourselves? We trust the creator. So my point is, in those knighting ceremonies, the king or queen would dub each shoulder of the knight. They would pass on the trust or the authority from themselves over to the knight and dub the noble. In other words, it's a connection from God, back in the day, to the king or the queen, to that person. So it's a lineage of power. And I'm saying this because social media works the same exact way. If we look at all the major acts, I'm going to name a couple acts, and I want you guys to really think about where they came from. Let's start with Drake. Where do you think Drake came from?
Wasn't he signed to Lil Wayne starting out, or maybe not starting out, but like was one of his bigger signers early days?
Oh, I know
Mhm.
where Drake came from.
Canada?
He came from his mother.
All right. Exactly. That's another
Where you from, my mama?
that's another powerful thing, because he has, the whole community of their culture as well behind him. But Drake was the son of, begot the Ben of, the son of, the beta of the alpha called Lil Wayne. Okay. And Lil Wayne was the son of, or the beta of, or the Ben of Birdman. So there's a lineage
that.
of success. Young Thug came from Birdman. It all ties back to like this. Somebody started, there's a progenitor who started the success, and then they passed it along the lines. Even Lil Nas X did not just pop up out of nowhere. Do you guys know where Lil Nas X came from?
No.
Wasn't he involved in some of the Lyrical Lemonade team?
Ooh, see, I didn't know that.
I
What were
remember
you
he
gonna
was
say,
actually
Busy?
performing shows with them and everything pretty early on, before the big hits. But I thought there was some involvement there, or maybe it's some common involvement.
Mm-hmm. It's the I was just gonna say I didn't know about that part, but I'll say that he basically had galvanized a lot of Nicki Minaj fans. He was a Barbie. Or what are they called?
Oh.
Barbies?
Yeah.
He was a
No,
barb, excuse
I
me,
think
a
I've
barb.
heard about
What
this
is a
before.
Barbie?
A barb, I meant to say. So he had a lot of the barbs, pardon me, on his side before he got famous. So my point in saying all this is that success comes from somewhere. Like, people think that we just generate money out of nowhere. A lot of the money that, I know I'm going off on a tangent, but it's going to get back to the point, is, for example, there's an economic almost depression on the way, a recession, some people would be scared to say, because most people think the money we have is our money. It's credit. It's not money. It's just a created thing out of thin air. At the end of the day, who owns the assets? Who owns the water? Who owns the food? Who owns the actual things that create the actual value? Those things are loaned out to, imagine life like a pyramid. You have at the top of the pyramid, the Illuminati. Okay, then you got, the second rung of the pyramid, which is the royal family. They own most of the assets. Then you have another rung where it's the corporations and the oil companies. Now, everybody else underneath there, we're hoping that they give us their resources. We're hoping that they give us their fiat, and we don't truly control it. So my point is, there's two ways to success, and I'll wrap the answer here is, you can either galvanize horizontally, which is what I was saying before with you, D, is that these brands can either go to people who have less than 800,000 followers, let's say less than whatever the following is, but they know they have a huge potential. And there's something called horizontal scaling when you get into advertisement. I'd rather, even in investing, they say diversify your portfolio. That's actually the way to gain the most money, is diversify. So I'm going to wrap the answer here, but I know I'm going on and on. But my point is this, they'd rather spread the risk across 10 podcasts, people who are killers, who are actually respected, than invest it all into one person. And I'm saying this to say, going back, we can either have horizontal galvanizing, which is to galvanize the bottom part of the pyramid and unify to create our own rung to the pyramid or overthrow the higher rung, or we have to rely on the higher rung above us to pass success to us. And that's how we get pulled up in this societal hierarchy. Quite literally, that's what labels are. They just pull people up. We could either do the grassroots thing and get 1 million people, 1 million of our friends to support us, or we could just go to a label who already has the control over the 1 million people. And once you look at life that way, you start to see everything, a little bit differently, in my opinion.
That is interesting. I have a question. And this is meant to, I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate with this. What about with like the democratization of like YouTube and algorithms and social media and stuff? Like, I'm sure that Mr. Beast had someone that invested in him and helped him. But what if someone goes viral? I guess that if they're not influenced or connected with someone big, then they would that would fade. That influence would fade. Or like, what is the difference between, can people come up without the help of somebody else? Is that even a thing?
Well, that's a good point. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was actually just going to say that's actually a really good question, because that's exactly what I was thinking about right now. As if I was to sponsor somebody, I would want somebody with some level of stability. But overnight successes on something random. Let's say a song did blow up and that artist does have clout for that one. They don't tend to last long. So what does that look like? How do they approach that?
Yeah.
Right. That's a good question. Thank you. Let's consider your the swimming trunks where you got, was that private information?
No. You go ahead and say that.
Okay.
Yeah, what he's referencing is we were joking around about some swimming trunks where for merch, me and DK might just put our icons on the booty cheeks, one on each cheek.
Anyway,
so if you want to have fun time at the beach, take us with you.
Yeah, that was the joke before we started recording. Anyway, go ahead, Busy.
Yeah, there's two approaches to that in this case. If we want true power and sustenance, we have to build our own distribution chain. If we're talking about like a supply chain, we have to build our own distribution. So the trick is, do we have the people to sell to? Or do we have to take our swim trunks to Walmart, who already has the people to sell to? That's where you guys have the actual power, because you control the communication among the engineering and producer community. So all these companies have to come to you, not only because you own the distribution, but also because some of these companies don't resonate with the audience. They're too far, have you ever had a conversation with an older person in your family who's from an older generation, and it's just hard to like find common ground?
Yeah.
And there's this built-in thing about business. The higher you go up, the more leadership you take on and responsibility, the farther you are away from the core skill.
Oh, absolutely.
And that just happens on a corporate level. So by default, some of these bigger companies can't get on that ground level. So they need people to interface with the community like yourself, because you're the person who is the most receptive. Is that a word?
Receptive?
Received, excuse me. Yeah. Received is the word I'm looking for. The most received. Because just like diabetes, for example, when our body has sugar coming in, our body begins to build a resistance to the sugar. So we stop absorbing the sugar, and that's what creates the effects of diabetes, for example. And a lot of these companies have that issue. They're so, saturated, some would say, to a negative degree that people don't receive them anymore. So they need people who can go in, and it's a biblical principle, to go in and dig up the dirt around the tree that's dying and put in fertilizer. So you're quite literally the fertilizer who magnetizes the law of attraction, so to speak, to pull in that business, to pull in those new customers. That's why you're so important. This platform, media outlets are so important for the producer and engineering community, especially the engineering community, because it's so tiny, it's so small. Once you get to know the people who are in it, so to speak.
It's kind of funny. It's true how small it is. Like this past NAMM weekend, I want to say that every event you went to, you just saw the same people at each event.
Oh, you guys went to NAMM?
Yeah, you didn't? Oh, did we?
No, you were there.
Yeah.
I think you were there, right, Busy?
No, I didn't go. I didn't go this year.
Oh, okay, you didn't go this year. My
Well,
bad.
I mean, there's gonna be another one coming up, supposedly maybe in April. They're gonna do it. They're gonna try to set it back in January soon enough, but they're pushing back dates to make it make sense.
Lou and I were talking about going to AES in October in New York.
Oh,
But
yeah.
anyway, let's go back to this idea. So myth number 1, engineers can and should take pictures with their clients. And you said something different. You said because and Killshot was the example that you used. He's an engineer that you may have heard of. He's doing really, really well on social media right now. You said that he's not doing it for clout chasing, which is really interesting, because that's intern rule number 1 is don't sell yourself, don't be a clout chaser. People don't like that. But you're saying that people can do this and benefit from it. And I assume that the person getting their picture taken can benefit from it too. This is just one more person, although small, it's an outlet for people, for their fans to like me more or something like that. So I'm not sure. So you're saying take more pictures and don't be afraid. That's a very mindfuck thing right now that's happening. I'm I should be doing that. Holy shit. Yeah, you're right.
It's cognitive dissonance.
No, go ahead.
Hold on. You said the key word. Hold on. You said cognitive dissonance. I want you to go on. You're talking my language. Keep going. What is this cognitive dissonance?
Basically, we're so conditioned to think a certain way. And the reason we think this way is because that pyramid I talked about. Think about how most engineers get a job. They get it because a professional studio hires them as an intern. And people are so scared to lose their job, they don't want to break the rules of the studio owner. So the studio owner has these kind of Soho house rules where it's don't take pictures of celebrities. They look at it like a hotel. You know, if you have these high-end clients, they don't want people to know where they're at. That's the number one thing. If you do take pictures, post it after they leave. Don't post it during, because people can even identify the inside of a studio. Like, I don't know if you guys have been to Altrium Studio, but once I see Altrium, I know it's Altrium.
I actually set up every room in there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yanni, Kadis, and all them. The Wakanda room was my room for 5 years.
Oh, the Wakanda. I've never been in the Wakanda room. No wonder you're wearing all black with the says it all.
I mean, I just like my aesthetic.
This is actually, that's a big gem for anybody that's listening right now. I know everybody's like, but good point, because there is a balance, because some people, I assume, are kind of not keen to that, because there is potential violence that can happen, or like security things that people don't want to be known where they are right now, you know?
Right.
But that being said, like, I think that's a big takeaway. As long as you're doing it safe, as long as you're doing it after. I mean, Lou's talked about in the past, like, hey, don't like, and we know engineers personally that have like taken pictures with celebrities or taken pictures of their session while it was happening, and then they got booted off the record completely and even sued. But it's like, so it's good to do it, but wait till after it's released or whatever it is.
I think the biggest tell if you should do it right away is based on your relationship with the artist. I feel like a big issue that a lot of people run into is knowing when to ask for the photo and when to speak up about trying to get more involved. If there's no relationship built right away, sometimes that's actually the first thing that deters like any ability to grow with that person, because they may not know you well enough to feel as comfortable to say yes right away. You know, if you do a good job during your session, you do it after the session, it's like, yo, okay, like, yeah, we could take a photo. Like, you were cool. I like you.
On a separate note, Busy, I'm wondering if this has anything to do with it. It probably does. Is that ever since I started the podcast, and more importantly, the more successful I become as an engineer, as a podcaster, the more naturally I can talk to people like Baines and Tizio and other engineers that are doing really well. Not because anything changed, but because I feel like now I can deserve to talk to them. Like, I've earned my right to talk to them, and I speak at a mutual level, which is super interesting. I assume that has something to do with it.
Right. Yeah, you're making a lot of subconscious points, right? For example, the girl I'm with right now is a beautiful woman. She's gorgeous. And she's a lovely spirit. Now, I wouldn't attract that or wouldn't believe I deserve that if I haven't built myself up. So think of celebrities like really good looking women, for example. Would you have the courage to walk up to a really good looking girl and say, hey, can I take a picture if you don't know her? Most people would say no, or they wouldn't even say no. They just wouldn't do it. And I think that's what the real issue is. But also there's a fear of the studio owners, because let me just go back a little bit. We're so conditioned to not take pictures because, again, the studio owners are worried about their clientele. So when you have an intern coming in and you start taking pictures with the clients, they think you're going to run off with their clients, and now you're a competitor. So it's not that the celebrity has all these rules about not being seen, because when I public speak, I love when people want to take pictures with me and talk to me and see me and recognize me. That's kind of part of being front facing in the public. You want that. I think more so, like you said, the security aspect, but also it's the studio owners trying to block somebody from taking away their clientele. But I want you guys to, not you guys, but I want your audience to embrace the moment. You never know if you're ever going to see Mariah Carey ever again in your life. Like, you never know if you're even going to have this job. Why are you so focused on bending a rule based on a job you don't even know if you're going to have for the rest of your life anyway? It's because a lot of today's world, like you said, going back to the democratization of power, really, is that you can build up your own social media and not have to rely on these studios anymore. You can go there as a subcontractor or an independent and have your own clientele and bring them there and rent out the studio. Like, for example, at Altrium in the Miami room. I think we were in the Miami room the one time. Is that a room, Miami room?
Yeah, the Miami room is the big one with the acrylic boxes for the speakers, right?
Yeah, acrylic.
It's like the booth is on the back right one after you walk in. Yep.
Yeah, that's the Miami room.
Yo, I'm not gonna dox you, but are you nearby us? Because you're saying some very local things.
No, I was. That's just. I know that one's in the cut. That's like a secret gem.
Got it.
Yeah, that one's the secret studio most producers go to.
Quick question. I have a couple questions trying to elaborate on this. One, I know that like a lot of like hyper fans, if they see Drake at the show, take pictures with Drake, like with the audience. I feel like taking pictures with them, I don't want to speak like this, but like from a lower standing versus taking pictures with them from an equal standing because you're actually working with them. I assume that there's a difference there. Like as a fan, like as a member of the audience versus like working equally on a project. Is there a difference? I assume.
Yeah, and there's even some people say body language. Like if somebody's leaning in, they're more. You're more of the leader of the moment. If somebody's leaning towards you, I don't know if that's true or not, but I've seen that in a lot of pictures. So if you are taking a picture, stand up straight. And I'm a loving person. So if I see Drake in a studio session, I don't care what the owner thinks. I'm taking a picture, period. And my point is, it's because at this level of business, we work at the speed of trust. We don't have time to research this engineer from this producer. Like I have to visually see who are you next to. That's all I can judge. And when you're moving at this light speed, trust is the only real currency. So this is why I said we have to rely on people's, in the subconscious mind. I'm not trying to get too deep with it, but I'll say this. When I say ice cream, what 2 words do you guys think of when I say the word ice cream?
Banana split. No, I'm just kidding. Ice and cream.
Yeah, ice and cream. Yeah.
He said ice and cream was
Was that not the answer? It's like ice cream.
I mean, some people say cold, vanilla, chocolate.
Oh, you mean descriptor? Okay, like adjective.
Yeah. So I asked that question because most people, I'll do this at a live event when I do public speaking, and most everybody in the crowd will have a different answer, even to the simple word of ice cream, the simple symbol of an ice cream, or what ice cream means to people. It means something different to each person. My point in saying that is we have to better communicate, you have to find the common ground of understanding. When you go to have you guys been to Miami before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if LA's like this. Is LA to where it feels like other cultures are in LA, or is it very Americanized?
No,
It's
LA
like
is
other cultures in
very, very diverse culture, but you can definitely find like specific areas, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That does make sense. Because going to Miami was like a culture shock. I was like, am I in America? Like it just was a whole different country. And my point is, to communicate in Miami, I had to find those simple words that meant the same thing in their culture and my culture. I didn't know what la mañana meant. So I would say, street. Like, did they understand street? You have to find that common word. So my point is, when we're operating on the speed of trust, we have to find the common symbol that everybody understands. And that is the front-facing people, Cardi B, whoever the celebrity is, Shaq, like Killshot and Shaq. People understand these really simple, cliche front-facing people. They understand Snoop Dogg. I'm not trying to go on and on and on, but when I'm dealing with Web3 companies, like we're dealing with the number 24 or higher protocol in the world is called Near. And their market cap is like either 4 billion, it was 7 billion when the market was up. Now they're 4 billion, whatever. We got funded by Near, which is a Web3 company in crypto, funded by A16Z and all this type of stuff. Andreessen Horowitz, or however you pronounce the name, forgive me. And my point is, what was my point? What was I getting to? Forgive me that I got lost in the sauce.
We were talking about front-facing.
We do exactly. Yeah, you're good.
Sorry. Yeah, these folks are from, Eastern Europe. So they don't understand who Ludovica is. Shout out to Ludovica. You mixed the crap out of her acapella one time. She gave me the acapella for that, or you might have gave me the acapella for the song for a contest we did. That was just the acapella was crazy.
Thank you.
And these companies only understand a Snoop Dogg. We understand all the micro niches, all that type of stuff. These other countries and companies don't. So we have to find that common thing that they understand, which is that celebrity. So all that to say, take pictures with celebrities. Don't be afraid. If anybody threatens you guys to fire you, really ask yourself, is that where you want to be anyway? If the artist is not complaining, you shouldn't live out of fear is what I'm trying to say. That's not a good leader who rules out of fear.
That's a really good point. I think to kind of generalize and recap, it seems like the main over-encapsulating formula is that does help, and the only reason why you're not even utilizing it is probably not you, but the audience, but you're probably not even using it is because you're scared to break relationships or because you've been told so many times and trained not to. You're saying, at the very least, it can help, and don't fear of what it can do. Like, don't be led by fear. Right. Is that kind of like a general? Did I generalize correctly?
You're right, because once I'm speaking as a maverick, so forgive me if we're like entitled, but I do everything on my own, God willing. You know what I mean? It was just me and the Lord. That's it. So when, people try to guilt me into things or make me operate out of fear, I just go, why do I need you? I've made brands millions of dollars. The company called Image Line, who made FL Studio, the world's #1 doll, I made them tens of millions of dollars. They wouldn't even acknowledge me for the first 2 to 3 years. They wouldn't even acknowledge me. Hey, thanks, or hey, busy, or anything. They wouldn't even acknowledge. I made them millions and millions of dollars.
Really?
And my point is, dealing with these companies is that people think that you have to do favors for brands. I'll tell you this, when you're doing brand deals and all this type of stuff, guys, for yourself and to everybody listening, is if they don't reciprocate in the beginning, chances are they're not going to reciprocate in the end. And that's because you're not doing a favor for the brand. You're doing a favor for a person who works at a brand. And if they get fired, you just built all that relationship for nothing. So
hold on. I just want to repeat what you just said, which makes me so excited. If they're not respecting you or reciprocating in the beginning, they're not going to respect or reciprocate you at the end. Oh my shit. We've talked so much about that in general on the show. Like even when picking clientele was our most recent, our most common example, making sure that you don't hate your clients, because if you keep inviting more clients that you hate, you're just going to have a bunch of money and income from clients that you hate, and that's not fun, right? So yeah, you got to pick people who respect you and work with you from the beginning. That's so good. And especially as I would say that I'm an intermediate content creator. I still have a lot to learn and a lot more to grow. But in some aspects and some platforms, I'm doing really well. For example, specifically on podcasting platform, we're doing really, really well. Not half as well on Twitch or YouTube, not even close. But we're doing really well on podcasts. And so all this stuff is extremely useful for someone like me. And I know it would have been so much more useful if I knew this 3 years ago, because there's so many missed opportunities. I could have taken pictures with. I'm counting at least 20 people off the top of my head right now that I could have done that with. This is so insightful. I want to go into I don't know. I don't mean to put you on the spot. Or go ahead. Yeah, you're gonna say something.
Because you brought up a good point. I'll just say this real quick. I just want people to think about your real life the same way you would think about your business life. Would you date someone who never took a picture with you? Would you date someone who never reposted you or acknowledged you publicly? Women make this mistake, because I have a lot of women mentees and things from my creative agency, and I see their relationship issues a lot. And the #1 thing is they think the guy's going to change. I'm just he's not going to change. What he is now, you either accept him for what he is now, or that's it. It's not, people can change, but we tend to fantasize and create this avatar in our mind that's not reality. And the same thing we do with the brands. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that was exactly it. I'm wondering, do you have a myth number 2 off the top of your head?
Myth number 2. Yes, that talent matters. I hate to say it, because engineers, you guys are very I don't know if you guys are on the forums. Do you guys frequent the forums?
Gear
Do you mean Reddit and all that?
Yeah, Gear Sluts, I think is one. Reddit. I don't know the thing now.
They rebrand because they're
Yeah, it's called Gear Space now.
Oh, Gear. I thought you said Gear. Oh, okay. Gear Space.
I will forever be a Gear Slut. I'm just saying there's some 500 series modules under my desk that don't change their position.
Right.
But yeah,
right,
tell us.
So what it comes down to with engineer, it's just talent doesn't matter. I want you guys to think about this. I can go into, are you guys familiar with real estate and it's called flipping contracts or wholesaling?
Unfortunately not. I wish I was.
Okay.
Just super 101 stuff. So please explain. Yeah.
So the simple fact is somebody can have a house and they need to get rid of the house because of the 5 Ds: divorce, depression, death, or whatever the 2 are. They need to get rid of a house. And then you have an investor who needs to put their money to work. So the trick is you can be the middleman or the connector who has no assets whatsoever. As long as you have somebody with a problem and somebody with the solution, all you have to do is connect them. That's what Facebook is. It's $1 trillion market, however valued Facebook is. They just find the person with the problem and the person with the solution and connect them. That's your quickest way into success into this industry. Is most people think that you have to deliver the deliverable, like the music, the mix, I'm trying to think of another asset, the graphic mastering.
Yeah, recording,
right. Sometimes an artist is like, yo man, I just need a photographer in the city. I'm not a photographer. My job is to go find a photographer of a decent rate in LA, for example, who's ready the next day to shoot for Trippie Redd because he needs a photographer. Find out what people need and meet a lot of people, and then have a bunch of solutions on one side, and then find a bunch of people with problems on the other side, and just connect the dots. That's how you actually create your own web for placements. And different things. Most people think, again, it's based on skill. Like if I'm just the best producer, just the best engineer, I'm going to get this thing. It's like college. Let's put it this way. I'll parallel it with college because people understand that. Have you guys gone to university?
Yeah.
So we know, I was a bio major, pre-med, headed to medical school, all types of stuff. For 4 years, I'm thinking, okay, I'm doing everything right, getting the grades, whatever, doing all these internship things. And then I'll have this magical job by the time I'm done because I'm working up this imaginary ladder. But you graduate and you realize it was all a fantasy. They sold us on this so that we would just give them thousands and thousands of dollars, hence the trillion, whatever, in student loan debt. So we have to apply that to our skill set. Just because we're getting better does not mean some magical door is going to open at the end of the tunnel to make us work with Drake. Because Drake doesn't work with the greatest people in the world. If that was the case, all the jazz musicians would be making the #1 hits right now. You know what I mean? Like only the top of the top people would ever get work. It's just not the case. So I want people to shift their mindset to think, how do they add value by connecting? In short, going back to the real estate thing, I have a house which needs to be sold. I have an investor who needs to put their money to work. Great. I'm going to create a deal as just a person who knows two people, and I'm going to present 3 offers. So this can help people with their pricing too. You want to have at least 3 offers. When you guys go to McDonald's or Wendy's or Burger King, I don't know what's out in LA, or In-N-Out. What's your guys' favorite fast food place?
I hate to admit it, but Taco Bell.
All right.
Oh, I hate to admit it.
Right on.
I
What
like
about you?
Whataburger in Texas.
Whataburger.
But that's not. Have you ever been to a Whataburger?
No, I've never been.
Sorry, I don't mean to. We're not going to go on a tangent. Go ahead. Keep
No.
going with your thing.
Yeah, the point is when we get there, chances are just same with your shorts. You need small, medium, and large because we have to create contrast. So when your audience is creating pricing, for example, or even value propositions to different people they know, have 3 options. The first option is straight cash. In this case, to make it simple, straight cash. Pay me $2,000 to mix your track, whatever. The next option is cash plus percentage. So I'll do a discount. It's $1,000 for the mix, but then I want some points on the back end. Then you have the third option, which is all points, no cash. This is how most lawyers and top accountants work. They work off of equity. So for bigger projects, you're probably going to position it to where it's like, hey, Drake, I'll work for free, but I just want some points. I'm not going to worry about the measly $2,000 fee. I want $20,000 recurring over the next couple quarters because I worked with Drake on his latest CLB album. And I think just positioning people to have those 3 things, small, medium, large, is going to help a lot of folks. I forget the core point that I was trying to make, but it basically comes down to small, medium, large. What was that core? I pivoted so
yeah,
deep.
sorry. The original myth number 2 is talent does not matter.
Oh, right. Talent doesn't matter. So yeah, I was basically trying to position it to tell people you don't have to have the skill. You have to know the person with the skill. But not only that, you have to have multiple options, not just the one person. Because yeah, it gets tedious. But I don't know. If you have time, I can define network for people.
Would you say that that's similar to the role of an executive producer? Almost contracting the work, finding the right players, and then delivering the product.
Deep. That's deep. Because think about it. Yes, I'll say yes. And think about it. Banks don't work all day. Like people who are wealthy do not work. They don't work for their money. They don't exchange time for their money. The whole key to what we're doing as entrepreneurs is to separate ourselves from time. In the beginning, all we have is time to exchange for money. That's all we have because we're not valuable. Then we gain we gain a skill, a competency, and now we can charge more for our hour. That's most engineers and producers are in that pocket. Then we want to get to a point where we're entrepreneurial producers and engineers, where we spend our money to buy other people's time, who are, whatever the word I just used, who are smart, basically, to do the skill. And then once we can step away fully and never have to exchange our time, all our money's doing is focused on that internal rate of return. And it's just, we become the bank at that point. And executive producing gives us a lot of power because, you know, have you guys read Think and Grow Rich?
Yep.
Not yet.
By Napoleon Hill.
I have.
There's a principle in there called the mastermind principle. Are you familiar? So I have a whole
let's explain it.
Yeah. So for example, I have a mastermind. Let me check how many people are in here. It's a private mastermind. I'm not promoting it. It has 251 leaders and shakers in this mastermind. And it's my network that I started of all the people that I wanted to connect. Because I said, I might not be able to, you know, there's a lady in there, for example, who's working on $100 million film studio off of Vancouver Island. It's called Malahat Studios. Shout out to Beverly. You know, she's trying to raise $100 million. Then you got, you know, a creative agent, Q, who represents, what's the guy from Squid Game? I forget the main character from Squid Game, but there's Squid Games 2 coming out, and he's the agent for him. So, you know, these high level folks, you might not have their exact solution, but they may know somebody who knows somebody. So long story short, going back to the executive producer role, we want to be in a position where we can activate what's called a network. And this is what I really do. This is the stuff that people don't see BusyWorks does behind the scenes. This is why I work with so many brands, for example, Razer, $1 billion gaming laptop company, Universal Audio, Image Line, Isotope, Arturia. You know, I'm starting to forget everybody. Waves, all the top companies.
On that note, let's take a quick pause just for 5 seconds. Don't forget what you were going to talk about, because I want a big shout out to our sponsor of the Mixing Music podcast. Big shout out to, you just named it, Isotope.
Shout out to Isotope.
Thank you so much for sponsoring the show, Isotope. If you'd like 15% off of any of their products, or would like an extended trial period from 7 days to 30 days, go visit isotope.com/mmpodcast or mixingmusicpodcast.com/isotope, and to take a hold of their deals. We love Isotope products. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. Let's keep going. Sorry.
Okay.
Didn't mean to...
Yeah, it's funny because I just did a free mastering course for premium members. And I did the AI mastering from Isotope versus like all the other mastering solutions. And the AI, I think, beat most of the, if not the number one, it was the number 2 in the whole like comparison. So the AI beat me on the mastering.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, not that I'm the greatest mastering engineer in the world.
Awesome.
So going back to what, and shout out to Dave and Jeff from Isotope, Jeff Manchester, and John as well. So, you know, when it comes to networking, net means total. In work, if you define it by physics, means force times distance. That's the actual definition of work. I know I'm getting geeky, but bear with me here. This is going to be important for your audience to understand. So for example, there's 3 people here. We're all forces, individual forces. This goes back to the mastermind principle. So force equals mass times acceleration. Without getting geeky with it, basically, have you guys been in an above ground pool before?
Yes.
All right. So you know the effect of when let's imagine you're standing in the middle of this above ground pool and everything's still. So what happens when I start walking forward from the center of the circle to the radius, or whatever the proper term is, to the circumference or whatever of the circle? There's a little trail of water behind you. Now, most people stop and they're like, oh, I'm doing so much work, because they feel the effect of that small little burst. But what happens once you stop is that the water hits your back, but then it settles back to normal. So what happens with most people, we'll start from the center of this pool, we'll walk to the edge, we'll hit that wall, that frustration period. There's a book by George Leonard called Mastery. If you guys want to study the growth curve, like growth is not just from 0 to 1,000. It's just not how anything works in real like life outside of bacteria growth.
Is that the author that made 48 Laws of Power as well? Same,
48 was from
different master?
Robert Greene.
Okay, so this is the George Leonard Mastery.
Yes.
Because I think Robert Greene has a book called Mastery too as well.
Right. I think he was going after that keyword, to be honest. He used the law of power. That's funny. So we start in the center of the pool, and then we walk to the edge of the pool. We hit that friction point. And this is where most people get frustrated. But again, we always, when we're moving, you're going to feel your past success catch up. But most people live in the past, AKA the water behind them. What happens if you start in the middle of the pool, you walk to the edge, you hit the wall, then you realize you have to pivot as an entrepreneur and you have to adapt. Now you're going around the edge of the pool. And if you guys have done this before as kids, you know, and the pool is circular, you can walk around the edge of the pool and then you keep doing it. And then ultimately you can let go and the flow takes you. You don't even have to move anymore. The flow carries you. Have you ever done that before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what momentum is that we have to use our force. Remember, our individual self hit that wall, and then we have to create momentum until the what's it called? Compound effect carries us. Now, here's how it works with networking and people, though. I'll be short because it is a long explanation, but force in physics is mass times acceleration. Bless you. So that's our body moving. Action is the definition of our body moving. It requires chemical reactions to create action. If you want to translate the invisible to the visible, you have to take thought, which is of the highest frequency. Some people call it God, whatever, the ether. And you have to translate it into emotion, because emotion crystallizes a higher frequency. You guys are in the sound, so I can finally use this analogy. Thank God. Is that, when we, when you have upper harmonics, it's multiples of a fundamental frequency.
Yeah.
And what we have to do is take our thought, which is all these harmonics, these higher frequency things, and we have to crystallize it or pull it back to this physical reality, which is quite literally the lower frequencies of all reality. So you have to take a thought and emotionalize it and put it into your hormonal circuit so that it's on loop in your body. Now, once you have a conviction, then you commit action based on those chemical reactions that are happening based on your hormones, and then you get results. My point is this: we are all forces, individual forces. We're bodies that move. Now, work is force times distance. So work is the definition of you starting in the middle of the pool, walking to the outside of the pool. You carried your force over distance, and that's the amount of work you put in, which most people talk about as work. How much work did you put in? But the problem is you only have 24 hours in a day. So your day is maxed and capped at a certain amount if you always exchange your work for value, your time for value. So here's what you have to do. You have to look at power. You just mentioned Robert Greene and the laws of power, right? 48 laws. Now we're talking about power. If you look at the definition of power in physics, it's work over time. So the only way to increase your power is to decrease the time it takes to do your work, or which you talked about, I think, templates earlier, or it's to increase the W value, which is the work or the force. The only way to increase work is to increase the force or the distance or how far you work. You've worked, yes. So my point is, when you talk about the mastermind principle, we're talking about power, which is galvanizing a bunch of individual forces like ourselves, this trio right here, this trinity, power in threes, okay? That will increase the W value, which then increases your power. That's what we're looking to do, is increase power. And most people focus on force. You want to think power. How do you increase the force amount? You have to convince people to be on your podcast, convince people to be on your, YouTube content collabs, cameos, shout outs, whatever. That's how you increase your force effect. That's what networking is the total amount of work, which is power. That's, to give it a definition, that's what it is. And, that's how you have to think, basically. I could go on and on and on.
Yeah, which is interesting. We've done many episodes on the inevitability and how important it is to sustain and build a business as an entrepreneur. And another word for power is, and decreasing time is by systems, right? Like at some point, it's always funny to me, like this is a very entrepreneurial part of me. Like I think it's funny that I ended up liking and becoming most passionate about one of the least scalable things I could ever do, mixing. Like I can only work on one song at a time with one artist at a time. But like things like the podcast or like my Twitch streaming, where at least I can scale by location and by how many people are watching and various other factors, right? But that's exactly what it is. I feel like from the example of the E-Myth, if you know that book, right? Where it talks about like lots of businesses, they get into building a business because they love, for example, in the book, the example is they love making cakes. So they create a bakery. But the thing is, if you're the only one that knows how to properly bake the cake that sells, then you cannot scale. You will never get power in the way that you put it. Like, because you either have to work harder or if you get burned out, now you're working less, but someone's got to do it for you when you haven't built the systems to do that. And so like it's kind of inevitable where in the mixing world, like Manny Marquand, Jason Joshua, they're not the ones with their hands on the board 100% of the time. That's why they have assistants, or oftentimes the secret is they're not mixing most of the records that they're putting their name on. Like, you have to scale it and somehow decrease the amount of time. And I think that's what you're getting into. And I'm just saying it in a different way. That's really interesting that you said it in the form of power and in the form of like physics and physical, like, what do you say, formulas. Work over time versus work, which is force times distance. Is that what you said?
Work equals force times distance. Yep, you're right.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that that's something super. So just to recap, myth number 1 is do not take pictures with your big clients. That's myth number 1. So meaning, please take pictures and with your big clients. Myth number 2 is talent matters. So meaning that if you do not have the talent, then you can at least be the middleman. You can provide value by introducing people. I think that that's incredibly. You have, just so we were talking about the rule of 3s, right? Just so we have a large option here. Do you have a myth number 3 off the top of your head?
Large option. I like that callback. Yeah, I guess you kind of led into it, which is the ultimate secret is most people think these top engineers even are really doing all these records. And that goes back to that second myth, which was talent, right? That was the second myth. Talent matters.
Talent matters.
Because once you gain a brand, this is why branding is so important. If you look at Mike Will Made It, and the Ear Drummers and all these type of folks, any kind of big producer, it's kind of known Dr. Dre doesn't make every beat. He just has all the people respecting him who come in to play the bass and the drums and the whatever. And he orchestrates it and puts it together like a Diddy. I don't know why it's super respected in hip hop, but kind of seen as a negative thing, I guess, in engineering. Is that true that it's seen as a negative thing, or am I just
it's kind of seen as, currently it's still seen as like but I paid you to mix it. It's like, yes, and I've taught an entire team to do what I can do, but I also have deadlines and many other clients, but I wanted you to touch it. It's like, I still verified it at the end. No, but I wanted you to do top to bottom. It's like, okay, that's not scalable.
Let me clarify. You're saying that it's cool to work under a big name, and you're saying that you're asking whether or not engineers think it's cool to work under a big name.
The other way around, to where the big name offsets the.
So
yeah.
Dre
so imagine
thinks it's
you're
cool
the
that he has a lot of followers.
Put it this way, like,
imagine you're the client.
Maybe I'm not
hiring Jason Joshua to mix, but his assistant mixed it.
Yeah, is that considered like a thing in engineering? I don't know. I'm not
usually a client will not like that.
Oh, I see.
In my experience, at least, if I ever said like, hey, I'm unfortunately a little booked up, I can have my assistant take care of it and then I can verify the ending of it. It's like, no, I wanted you to mix it. I'm like, yes, you would still have my final touch and approval and everything, and I would verify that it's up to quality. But they seemingly it's a lot of emotion involved in the artist's view, if that makes sense. Other industries, like if I was a carpenter and I said my assistant built your chair, nobody would care because the chair is the chair. There's no emotion involved in the chair. But musical is such an emotionally involved thing that on the engineering side, they want their fine touch person to be the final touch.
Right. And I'll just kind of shotgun to reinforce what you're saying is that they're working with the brand of Metro Boomin, the brand of Murder Beats. That's why they go and pay these exorbitant amounts. It's because they want to work with that person specifically. And outside of like if it's cool or not, like you said, it's about scalability. And one thing about an army is that if I'm a soldier, I'm not going to listen to the general if he's never been in battle before. So to even be in that position where you can have assistants should show that they respect you on some level, because you've done it before, you know what the heck you're talking about. Because people would just walk away and do it themselves. They wouldn't need that person. But there are studios in LA where I've heard engineers have 30 assistants mixing their stuff. Like it's like a machine, but people don't understand it's like this. And, I guess the myth going in is, the second myth was talent, and you positioned it so well. And I lost your point that you were trying to make because I was going to pivot off of what you said, which was, I guess, that they exist. Sorry, that's what it was. That was kind of the secret, but the cat's out the bag now. People don't even know that they exist. So like even the assistants, and I'm going to shotgun a lot of things out there. People don't know, there's a guy, Paul Third on YouTube, who's calling out a lot of software companies right now because they're making claims that software does something, but it really doesn't. Long story short,
That's
you know, a
Paul
lot
Third.
of the
That's Paul Third on YouTube.
Oh, the snake oil guy.
Yeah,
he's
Paul
yeah.
Third.
shout out
I'm
to
a
Paul
fan.
Third. Yeah. And so my point in saying this is that a lot of folks don't even know that the code is shared amongst the developers on the software side. So we think we're buying all these new plugins. It's the same shared code with a different interface. So I'm saying this to say, in real life, when it comes to, you know, the glam of the industry, we think all these people are mixing the records. In reality, it's white labeled stuff from somebody else. But what makes Steve Jobs important? It's not that he made every single iPhone by hand. You know, it's his creative direction for the iPhone and how he made us excited about it. So I think there's some, you know, the engineer community is so focused on doing the craft. And maybe I have to love that and respect that, because that is where the fun is. But if you guys want to grow and, you know, go beyond your bounds, you have to escape from the doing itness. And that's the scary part of it, creative. We always want to stay. There's a book by Gerber. I want to say Michael Gerber. Forgive me, I'm going to look this up as we speak, but it's called E-Myth.
Oh yeah,
And-
the book that we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael E. Gerber, that's his name. It's called E-Myth. So there's 3 levels to business. And I don't mean to make this so businessy, but the creatives need to understand their power so that they don't get finessed and hurt by all the people controlling the business. Long story is this. There's 3 levels. You have the technician, or the person doing the craft, like the baker. Then you have the manager, who oversee, like you guys are explaining the studios, who oversees all the bakers. They don't necessarily bake the cakes anymore, but they make sure that Todd is clocking in. And then you have the person who just owns the bakery. They're never there. They just hired somebody to be there to watch everybody else. And that's the ultimate goal. Is you want to think of it like the universe. You know, if you go back to the biblical story about the universe, if we call ourselves creators, and if we want to be God-like, God didn't just focus on earth and that was it. You know, they did the animals, the earth one day, the stars a different day, and then left that thing. So my point is, there's 6 days of creation. First day was one thing. Second day was a different thing. Third day was a different thing. And then walked away from that thing. Most people want to stay in the one thing, and that's fine. That's your choice. But I'm saying, if you want to be like a god and increase your consciousness and awareness and your power and be like the stars, quite literally the stars, the soul, you gotta detach and you gotta zoom out, it's called. That's why my favorite emoji is the eagle emoji. I want people to get higher up so that they can zoom in when they need to. And I'll leave to this last point, is that the lady who's raising $100 million for her film studio, she knows everything about everything. Like, she knows about the gaffing techniques, the you know, I forget what it's called, but like the pool they use for different movies with water. Mm-hmm. She knows everything about each like thing that she wants to build. But she knows, as an entrepreneur, she has to zoom out in order for this vision to come to fruition. So I just want to give people the courage to go out there and to get outside of, you know, their comfort zone, I guess is the right word, and really challenge the status quo. And that's why, you know, to plug myself, that's why I created this creative agency called Busy Signal, which are symbols and eagle. And we represent people going against the status quo, people who challenge, like you challenged my thought earlier. We're going to challenge everything about the music industry, everything about what's currently done in a certain way. And that's what I'm focusing on. So June 21st, I'm going to be in New York, basically throwing a party to launch my agency. Thank God. But it's a long time coming, but.
So
congratulations on that, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Congratulations for real. So now's the perfect time. So you're starting a creative agency. I want to ask you a little bit more about that in a second. But if you want to learn more about, I mean, you make a lot of tutorials in FL Studio, as well as just producing in general and various things. You have a website, busyworksbeats.com, ? Is that right?
Yes.
Sweet. There it is. And you have a bunch of courses. You have an entire YouTube channel filled with informational videos. And I see, I'm subscribed to you, so I see you posting videos and going live like daily. Like, I know you have a shit ton of content always coming out. And so if you're interested in learning more about production, and obviously there's some business stuff here and there, but your channel is mostly focused on production and beat making, Go to BusyWorks Beats on YouTube. You're on Clubhouse a lot if you'd like to know this deeper cut knowledge. It sounds like you offer mentorship with like business. I don't know if that's like a paid thing or whatnot, or if that's even something you're offering. But let's talk a little bit about the creative agency. What does that mean to be a creative agency, and what are you trying to accomplish? Who are kind of your ideal clients there?
Yeah, and I'll even be short about it. Look, the world's going into chaos. We're about to go into probably the worst depression known to man. So look, do what you love is my point. And do what you love and focus on what you love, meaning create the content, create the music, create the mixes, create the whatever gets you excited. Find those unknowns that make you excited, those curiosity points that keep that dopamine going, because that's what's going to give us the most joy to pull ourselves into normalcy, into above normalcy, which is happiness. And that's why I'm going to do all the boring stuff for people. So they can do what they love, and we're going to handle all the boring, okay, how to build out a product line. This sounds so boring, but I guess you guys are into it because you're about the merchandise. But you had to find suppliers. You had to figure out, okay, you're going to do direct to garment printing. Are you going to do silk screening? Is it going to bleed? Who's the vendor? Who's the consistent vendor? How much do you have to buy? Do you have to buy 1,000 pieces at one time? Are you going to do Alibaba, AliExpress? We're going to handle all the geeky. That's the stuff I love, is building businesses. So I love that side. So I'm going to do what I love. Whereas most people don't love trying to figure out how to communicate with the vendor who's 12 hours ahead of them and all this type of stuff. So my point is, do what you love in this coming period, because that's what's going to keep us all moving forward. So that's what the creative agency is a balance of, I'm doing what I love. Y'all could do what you love, which is the content creation. Actually, people don't even like content creation as much anymore. They like just creating the music. But we're going to figure out a way to wrap it up to where people get value out of it. Because don't you hate when people just hit play and it's just, I don't care about that person's song. It's not valuable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's just a person staring at a screen hitting play. That's just not valuable to most people. So that's the DNA of what I'm going to be doing is wrapping around somebody's core love. So, people are popping, but they don't understand how to monetize. And that's another thing we're going to be doing.
So that's actually something that we're working on, is trying to figure out, we have the audience, we're trying to figure out how to monetize everybody that's listening right now.
That's right, listeners.
We're trying to take your money. No.
It would just be nice if Daddy could buy some new shoes.
No,
Right.
but on that note, we do have exclusive content. So if you like listening to the podcast and would like 3 times the amount of episodes that you're hearing right now, 3 times the amount of episodes, go to mixingmusicpodcast.com/exclusive to unlock exclusive bonus episodes that are more specifically technical, and we pull a lot of awesome tips from videos and other podcasts and things like that and kind of curate that content. On that note, let me do a quick review real quick, if that's all right, Busy.
Yeah.
The 3 points. Myth number 1 is do not take pictures with your clients. So take pictures with clients. Myth number 2 is talent matters. And I'm sure that there's a balance here, right? And it's good to be good at things, but you don't need to be good at it. The point is, you could be the middleman. And that's the point. And the third myth is, you have to do everything yourself. And I think that goes into power and becoming powerful and having people help and assist under you, and creating a brand, right, that people want to collaborate with. I think that's briefly recapping everything that we've said. Where can people learn more about you, about your stuff? Like, what platforms are you on, and that you're welcoming people to, you would like to invite people to join you on?
Sure. Forget me. I want to add value to you before I leave, which is this. And I'll say my thing at the end, which is ways you guys can monetize. One is you already have the affiliate relationship with Isotope. We can get you more sponsors. That's easy. 2 is to figure out a live event circuit, for example, where you 2 host, if you want to do this, or you can do it virtually with webinars. And then you can always have a refreshing guest panel, and they'll typically do it for free. So you can go to city. You guys are already in LA, so you can leverage a ton of people. Just do little private masterclass type things, invite Palace, Metro, whoever wants to pop through. And then they could pull up and you do a masterclass per artist, like a show. You guys can do software development. I have a software development side, which is we can literally build out plugins for you. Whether it's a synth or the process DSP type plugins. You guys can do merchandise, which you already figured out. But merchandise is more of a, I would say, unless you're selling a hoodie for like $100, the margins are a little tight. So it's more so like a promo, like a culture thing than it is a monetary thing.
So
you have the membership? Do you?
for the exclusive content, yep.
Is it Patreon or something else?
No, it's directly through a third-party app for our podcast uploading service.
Oh, dope. Good.
Yeah.
Membership is always a slept-on one. And then lastly, I would have some kind of standalone, because that's where people, they think that subscription's taken over because they see all these software companies doing it. But that, you got to have both. You know, like I don't always want to do what's it called? The buffet style. Yeah. I don't always want to do buffet and then not have the a la carte thing. So like, do you always go to a buffet every time you eat? No. That's basically what it is a membership.
Although I wouldn't complain if that was the only option.
Chick-fil-A buffet.
Oh my God, a Chick-fil-A buffet. Get me out of that place. Yeah, I'm out.
Right.
Well, that kind of wraps it up for this episode. Yeah, let's do a quick shout out for you. If people want to ask you questions, or is there any places where people can reach out to you, find you and your content?
Yeah, the next thing I'm pushing is Busy Signal Agency on IG. So Busy Signal Agency, but you could just follow me at Busy Works Beats. You'll see me always talking about it. You could Google me, do your research. You know, I mean, don't take my word for it. Go look at what I've created and check other people's opinions before coming to check me. That's why
I wish more LA cats people said stuff like that, because people in LA be dropping heavy names and like you look them up and they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
You know, like I can go on a tangent, but producers be like, produce for Drake, and then they throw in this obscure artist just to throw you off, like some unknown person, so it looks real, but it's just people make up stuff all the time.
So
I think that's what my IG looks like, because I'll be honest, I never took pictures with my clients. I think the only person I actually have a picture with is my regular client, Keisha Cole. But you know, I've known her for years, and that's always been my philosophy. But because of that, like when you look at my credits list on my IG, they're like, why doesn't he post any photos of it? I'm like, never really cared to. And so did he actually do it? Only one way to find out, bro.
I will say that this was a very, very interesting episode. For me, this is probably the most challenging episode for me, in the sense that you're breaking my indoctrination. Everything that I've been indoctrinated with and have been taught, you broke a lot of it in this single episode. And so it's been very challenging to kind of relearn and absorb and look at it from a different perspective. So I thank you for challenging me. And I hope that this was challenging for everybody that's listening right now. And that's right. So I think we're gonna. Is there any other things that you want to say?
I literally forgot I have a book. So if people want like this more businessy stuff, just go to my IG. I just updated it with the little. It's called Koji, but it has all the links in it. So it's a free book, free PDF. I don't even ask for your email. I just want that wisdom to go out to folks. I forgot about the book. Yeah.
So I'll be.
If you want more of the businessy mindset.
And I'll be downloading that as well, because I'm all.
Is there an Audible?
I'm working on Ayla. Thank you. Ayla is going to be doing. She has a really good voice. She's going to be doing the audio version. I'm going to put it up on YouTube. I don't know how to put it on Audible yet. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, if you do, I'll most likely listen to your book while driving, because that's my favorite time to listen to books.
So well, it'll be
LA traffic. It gives you a free 30 minutes to brush up on your books.
Well, thank you so much, Busy. Thank you so much for the time that you've dedicated. I'm going to wrap up this episode. We're really, really grateful for the knowledge that you've dropped, for your giving mentality, and for the value that you've provided, not just for me and Lou, but to the audience. And I hope that everybody listening right now can go back, rewind, re-listen to this episode. There's many, many gems, and I think it's going to take a little bit of time to really absorb everything, including myself. I'm going to have to go back and listen to this episode. Thank you so much. Once again, Busy. If you like the podcast, obviously feel free to subscribe or follow depending on your platform. And if you're on Spotify, on Apple, or on Google Podcasts, please leave a 5-star review ranking, as that helps us get on the algorithm, find more people to give value to. We really appreciate everybody that's listening. And on that note, happy mixing, my friends, and stay saucy.
Make you guys rich.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Recording stopped.
The recording is. Sorry, let me stop the recordings. The recordings are stopped.
Good. I think I stopped. So I'll wave this. I'll give you the wave. You want wave or MP3 or? It doesn't
MP3 would
matter.
be great actually because it's just dialogue. Hey, I'm gonna mute the live stream real quick. I want to ask a private question only between us. That's not on the live stream. And then last, this is totally separate. This is just me being just an observer. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if these things were done on purpose because this is actually really, really well. First off, you did a really, really well with speaking, and it sounds like you have a lot of public speaking experience. Three
thank you.
questions. One, you asked a lot of simple yes or no questions. Like, have you done this before? Was that on purpose? And what is that called? Is that a technique you're doing on purpose?
Are you leading the conversation? In other words,
Really, it's sometimes I feel like I'm talking too much, and I'm just like, I want y'all to feel
Okay,
like
okay.
you're a part of it too.
That's just
That's
a habit.
really what
Okay,
it is.
that's not
It's a habit at this point.
Okay. Also,
mhm.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've studying sales. They call them micro agreements. It's kind of like the death by 1,000 cuts. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah.
Where it's like 1,000 small things take you out. Or what about the opposite? 1,000 small things build you up to make a decision too.
yeah.
You could look at it that way. I wasn't that meta with it though, to be straight.
I used to be a sales manager for a couple different companies, so I actually used to teach that method when it came to helping the client make a decision now versus allowing them to leave to think about it. You know, if you ask them the right questions, they will say yes by default. They will not say no.
So, this is
That's
this is another thing, and I'm just being stupid. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
You're like always smiling. Is that a busy thing, or is that like a technique of some kind?
It's actually, I'm trying to smile as much now because I used to be not confident about my smile. I got Invisaligns and all this. So now I want to compensate for all the time when I wasn't smiling, basically.
Can I ask you about your experience with that?
Cute. I don't.
It's kind of cute. It's a cute explanation. What, the Invisalign?
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not proud of my smile. I've been wanting to get it corrected for a long time, but part of me is wondering, you know, if Invisalign's own actual output, is it of quality or is it just strictly marketing?
No, they're solid. I would tell you two things. One is if they try to convince you to whiten your teeth with a little blue light, that thing will make you feel like you're having childbirth in your mouth. Don't do it.
Oh God.
And then the second thing is during the Invisalign, they ask if you want to put these little dots on your teeth. So
Dots?
yeah, like they're like, it makes your teeth really sharp.
Uh-huh.
They're supposed to hold the thing in place. I would recommend not getting those. You don't need them unless your smile is super hard to correct. Don't get the little dots because it's gonna hurt. It's just an inconvenience. So,
Gotcha.
and
My smile is not super hard to correct, but it's funny. Like my fiance had braces, and you know how like after the braces come off, you have to wear what is it, the
retainer.
retainer. I guess she didn't do so hot on it because she like complains about like these minor nudging outs on like her bottom row. Like they're so minor, I never noticed them until she told me about it. But like I look at her, I'm like, oh my God, but like your smile is so nice. Like I wish I had that smile. I don't care about that minor deviation. I'll take that. I'll take that and more. Like compared to what I got now. Like, but no, I've been considering Invisalign. You're the first person that I've heard that actually use Invisalign with success. So that's why I'm like, okay, like let me just out of curiosity.
I will say it gave me a ton of confidence. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I was gonna say, fun fact, in Japan, especially for women, there's a trend, and has been for a while. You know how like some people have their what is it, your fangs come out, and so it's like there's not a gap and it's just a thing coming out, so it's like messed up looking to Americans. Like people would get that, like get braces to have that style done on purpose because that was seen as cute.
Really?
That is seen as cute.
Wow.
It's
That's
interesting.
deep.
It's like a specific type of messed up is like seen as cute in Japan. It's interesting. Anyway,
So-
totally
No, that's-
unrelated. The
No,
last
that
thing,
was dope.
the last thing that I want to ask you, Busy, is
Yeah.
you and I are very similar in the sense that big readers, big learners, of books. I would love your book recommendation. I know you got George Leonard Mastery, which is interesting. I've never heard that one before. I've read Myth. I've read there's a couple other books that you mentioned. Just any books that you recommend.
Yeah, it's actually the most simple book. So there's a book called Basic Study Manual by the most controversial L. Ron Hubbard from the Scientology community. But
I've heard about this book though. I've heard about this book. Hold on. Basic Study Manual?
Yeah, Basic Study Manual. It teaches you how to learn and why your subconscious mind rejects a lot of information. And it's super simple. It's mind-blowing, the experience I had.
Where
Another
do you
book
get
he
access
wrote.
to that?
I think it's
Because
on
it is L.
Amazon.
Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, I think it's on. I think it was Amazon. To be straight with you.
Okay. Because I want to get that book without getting like a bunch of follow-up calls.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Oh wait, did that happen to me? I think I bought my book off of somebody and they started trying to contact me and call me. That's funny. That happened one time.
Okay,
I forgot what book.
literally,
It's
you're like the third person who's ever actually told me about this book, and I've heard that it's like one of those secret books you have to read, even though it is L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they demonize it because it's so valuable. There's another book called Basics of Organizing by L. Ron Hubbard. It's still blowing my mind. It's so dense. Like I still don't fully understand how to organize. It's very dense, but that's the book that made $100 million enterprises. And another top book I'm trying to think top of my head, Ready, Fire, Aim by Michael Masterson is dope. That's about, you got to know where you are in entrepreneurship. Like to your first million, you have to just do stuff basically. And I think he said you need like 30 plus products before you get to the million. I forget what he said, but the book maps out like where you are in business.
Who's the author one more time?
Michael Masterson. In the book, a lot of Michaels write books, I've noticed. And the book's called Ready, Fire, Aim.
Yo, I talk
I'm
about
sorry,
that too.
asking my Michael friends if they write books.
Well, I've
Michael-
talked about this. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Lou.
No,
I
I
could-
just said I was gonna ask my Michael friends if they write books now.
That's funny. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you down. Sorry.
No. I was gonna say I've talked about that on the show too. Like naturally, not trying to be. I am very much a ready, fire, aim, readjust person. I shoot before I look down sights and see if shit works out, and then I readjust from there. And I've talked about on the show how that's actually really useful. It can be.
What's your zodiac? I'm just curious. Your sun sign.
Like Asian zodiac, like I'm year of the rooster.
Oh, I don't know that one. What about
you mean like
Aries and all that?
Oh, I'm a Virgo.
Oh, Virgo. Okay. A lot of Virgos in music. What about yourself, Lou?
Taurus.
Taurus. Okay. A balance. Virgo and Taurus. I think those two go together. I forget.
I like to think that me and DK balance each other out. There's times where I need a balancing. I'll just call DK and be like, all right, cool. He sent me back to ground.
He sent me back to ground. I like those little I just realized you have Pokemon little bobbleheads behind you.
Oh yeah, I like pops, not because like I'm a pop collector or anything. Like I found out the ones I took out of the box are worth more than I thought. I'd never bought them because of that. It's just like I like Pokemon. I've always been a Pokemon guy. In fact, the back of my phone, little Pokemon pop thing on the phone.
Let's go. That's so fun.
But one of our interns, Marcus, he was helping me set up this new room because I've only had this room for like 6 months. And he's like, oh, dude, it looks so dope on camera if you had like the big pops of the Pokemon. I'm like, yeah, but I can't find them anywhere. He's like, dude, I got them in my home, like in some other state. He's like, my dad can ship them, this and that. And so like it took a couple months to get each one of them out of storage, which is like the wildest, like coolest thing about them. So they're like, and the last one, Squirtle, he was the last one I was waiting on. And he gave me that as a gift for my birthday. So I was like, dude, like, so they're like my special little pops.
You have all the beginner Pokemon, starter Pokemon. That's
I have like Mewtwo and Mew and Lucario and all them up on the top. I have all three of because my panels are huge. They're 6 foot by 8 foot, 6 inches deep each. And each one is like tracked with Pops. And then in this main studio, in my A room, live room, we have like a 10-foot beam that I also have like a collection of Bob's Burgers ones.
Bob's.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. It just sounds funny. Bob's Burgers. I've heard of that.
Oh,
before.
it's a good show. It's like a family show that Fox puts out. Like they just came out with the movie. It released like 2 weeks ago. But it's got like 13 seasons, 14 seasons right now.
Sick. Okay. Because my girls
Yeah.
put me on a Rick and Morty, all types of stuff. But
Yeah,
I got to
Rick and
do a beat battle in 1 hour, so I got to start preparing.
No
here.
worries. Actually, we were about to cut it off too. Thank you so
Oh,
much,
wait.
Busy. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining in. We'll have to reconnect later.
Yeah. Oh, there's one more dope book I want to
Oh,
put you
please.
on. Because it's called Your First 100 Million by Dan Pena. He's like super controversial though. Now he advises people to get the torrent. I don't know how to get it now, but back in the day there used to be a torrent that he would tell people to go get because it had all his QLA stuff. Something called QLA, Quantum Leap Advantage. I can share my Dropbox with you. Actually, it's on there. I'll just share the Dropbox because it's stuff you probably can't even find anyway on the internet. But yeah, he's pivot. Every time I listen to him, I make more money. So it's just
Damn. Which, by the
Just-
way, I listened to that really long YouTube video that you sent me. Like, this is like a year ago when we first met on Clubhouse. Like the 12-hour secret to success kind of thing. And there was during that audio clip, one of the things is like, there's so many people that have found success or claim they have found success and teach success, but they've never actually found success themselves. And so like,
Yeah.
there was in that long, it was like a 12-hour audio book. And I listened to the whole damn thing eventually. And
Yeah.
yo, that shit was crazy.
and they took it down, but they re-uploaded it. It's Kevin Trudeau, called Your Wish is Your Command.
Yeah.
Your wish is
Super
your
fire.
command.
Yeah, but they keep taking it off of YouTube. So there's a new link if you want the new link.
Is it on Audible?
Some-
Because I'm definitely not
Is it
reading
on
12
Audible?
hours worth, but I'm definitely going to listen to 12 hours worth.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. I always look it up on YouTube.
Okay.
But anyway, thank
Yeah,
you so
I
much,
do
Busy.
too, eh?
Yeah, send me that. Just
Thank
message
you.
me, and I would love that Dropbox links. Thank you so much. And thank you for your
Oh
time.
yeah, I'm going to tell all the companies about you. All right, thank you guys. I'll catch you
right.
soon enough.
Peace.
All right, peace
Later.
out.
Cool.
All right. Let's continue let's do one more episode if you can.
Yeah, totally.
I'm gonna pee real quick. I have to pee.
Okay, no worries.
Let-
I see diamonds in the chat. I see yo. I see. Oh, it's Nelson. Don't be ashamed, Lou. Taco Bell is goated with the sauce. I'm not gonna lie, like, dude, Taco Bell is definitely a guilty pleasure. I'm not. I wish it was a little bit healthier. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see. What up, Mitch? What up, Nels? What up, DK? I found out that Pringles can top a really good. Wait, what am I reading? I found out that Pringle can tops are really good as frisbees. Okay, I did read that right. I want to know how you found this out. Like, how did you find? Like, were you just tossing the tops around and were like, "Oh, my dog likes to catch this"? No, but that was a cool episode, guys. Like, honestly speaking, like, I got a lot out of that. I was getting various calls and everything. It was kind of chaotic on my end. Like, we had like the studio line blowing up. I had my line blowing up. We're doing like clinics with Latin Audio at some studios pretty soon. We just had NAM, so we got like post NAM paperwork that we're doing and all that with different reps. But that was actually really fun. Now, I'm kind of curious, y'all. Like, y'all answer in the chat. Which one of the three myths did you honestly find like the most useful? For me, it's probably the photos one. I still have my personal hang up as like when you first ask for the photo, you definitely want to at least have done a good job because it kind of sets a mindset going in. Because not everybody is so comfortable taking photos. They'll do it, but not everybody's always so comfortable. But they'll probably feel a lot more comfortable if you build a nice and cool relationship with them. But then again, who am I to talk? I never took a photo with many of my clients. So I can't really say much, and Killshot's killing it. You know, he actually did a really good job at that. So myth busted right there. I don't know, but y'all, I took my desk out. It's fun. DK has arrived. He has blonde hair and a white shirt and gray pants and black socks.
Yo, sorry.
Yo.
I just did a quick pee, but
How quick was it?
my son, this is kind of scary. Without anybody else noticing, my son was playing outside by himself. He let himself outside, was playing outside by himself. I told my wife, did you know he was outside? And she's like, what? So that's a little scary. We heard a story recently. Oh, by the way, Nate on the track on YouTube. I don't know if you're seeing the YouTube comments. So
I
was taking
can't. I
notes.
can only see the Twitch stream comments.
YouTube, Nate on the track says, you feeling better, Lou? You feeling better, Lou? I got sick as well.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Nate. Yes, I'm feeling significantly better. Thankfully, 2 days before NAM, my fiance and I both tested negative. Thankfully, I started off with COVID, and then she unfortunately caught COVID from me. It was about a week and a half of mind-numbingly workless days because I don't know what to do with my time if I'm not working. Which I found a lot of peace in like building stuff. So I just built a ton of acoustic panels. But yeah, no, I'm better. I'm back. You know, now DK's got a little head cold. He's not COVID. He's not anything. But that's why we're kind of in separate places. It's not because I still have COVID or anything. But when it first hit, yeah, that thing hit. That thing was. I called DK. During one of my fever trips. Like making sure
I remember
he was still
that
alive.
now.
Yeah, like that was wild.
You were having
like,
hella fever dreams. You were like actually concerned for my safety.
dude, I had so many fever dreams, and what's weird, dude, I kid you not, not last night, but the night before, I had the same exact dream as one of my fever dreams. Like I dreamed it all over again. I don't know what that's about, but like almost in the exact same order and progression of the dream. That was the wildest thing. But yeah, I had a dream that you know, DK unfortunately passed away in an accident. We were all going on like a multi-family trip. It was DK's family, me and Anna, and we had like another mutual friend and their family. And like D had passed away, and I didn't know what to do. I was like trying to console the family, been like, we'll get things taken care of, and we'll figure this all out. And then like I woke up, and I'm like, I have to call DK. Is he alive? And then he's like, yes, I'm not dead. I'm just in my room.
It's true.
But yeah,
But
yeah, fever dreams are no joke.
I've been having a couple weird. I always have weird dreams, but I've been having a couple fever dreams as well the last few nights. I've been not sleeping very well, and I've been more weird. I haven't been waking up very well. Meaning,
Really?
like I've been waking up not feeling like I wake up and get out of bed, but I still can't tell if I'm dreaming or awake.
Oh, I
So
was
it's like,
I was
it's been
gonna
really
ask you,
weird.
to be honest, if it had anything to do with like caffeine or anything.
No. I think it's because I'm sick.
Okay.
So
Yeah, no.
That was really
Honestly
weird.
speaking, I feel like, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like a couple people have been telling me the same thing lately. I don't know if it's because like it's been getting hotter as well. Because I think it was not yesterday, but the day before, I think it hit like triple digits in parts of LA.
Yeah, bro. This is. I think I'm gonna say this out loud now. I'm gonna say that this is a sign.
Mhm.
I don't have the time to do this right now, but I think I'm gonna have to. In the last 24 to 48 hours, this is the third time when Busy brought it up. This is the third time in a row, third time that someone has brought up the oncoming of a huge depression. Now, it's interesting because the first thing and the first entire myth and point that he brought up is that nobody should be led by fear, and I totally agree with that. But logically speaking, it does make sense that we're coming up on a big depression and a potentially huge one with the amount of inflation that we had, many interest rates, blah blah blah, whatever, right? Is that right now? One of the big things is, first off, we all know from the very little information that we have that marketing and creative agencies go out first, like in a depression. Those are like extraneous things that you don't need to have, so they usually go out first. Music is one of them. I mean, entertainment
Yeah.
is obviously one of them, and any sort of like even the film and TV agencies and stuff now, which is form of content, is like second in line. So it's interesting. We're gonna see how all of this goes. Maybe not content, so maybe the podcast will go up as we saw during COVID. Entertainment and content in general went up, which was different from previous generations of depressions. Anyway, I feel like I should get some sort of like part-time 10 to 20 hour 10 to 20 hour a week job at like Costco, just to make sure that I have something in works. Like if we go through a major depression, I can continue to pay for the studio and for my own rent, kind of a thing. Because it's
Yeah.
harder to get a job during a depression than it is before. So like this is kind of giving me some vibes like I probably should.
I'm not gonna lie. Here's what I was thinking. But all right. So to comment on your thought, because I've been having very similar thoughts. I made it through COVID based off of intuition and just sheer will to not let anything stop me. And that was pretty much it. All my work disappeared overnight.
The reason why I'm talking
I
like
didn't get hungry.
and I'm not that worried because my overhead is so damn low.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking like if I had Costco or like Starbucks or some sort of like part-time, which by the way, if I take up that job right now, I'd lose money because I make more money by not having to work those jobs, which is like really entitled, and I'm really proud to say that's an achievement I have. Like I would lose money if I took on an hourly job at this point.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about those jobs is that I can quit whenever the hell I want. So if I found out, oh, this depression is not as bad, I can still survive. There's enough music flowing in the industry, and I made it to a place where I can make money still or survive, then I can quit. And I also
Don't forget
like trying
that
to
we
balance,
also
like,
have a career type that doesn't require us to actually be working at a specific time.
Yeah, well, I'm, and this is the thing too is like I'm not trying to be led by fear. I'm just trying to. Maybe you're right.
You're trying to
I'm just like,
rationalize
it's just-
an option.
It's just like I'm just thinking about it out loud now because this is like the third time in the last 48 hours I've been suggested or I've heard that.
So what I thought was a little bit different. So you're right. You know, if a depression hits, you know, most entertainment like recording is going to be cut down. They're just going to say record from home. It's cheaper. We'll just hire the engineer to go to your house or you go to their house, whatever. It will be less than going to a major studio. That's the one part. The studios that you'll also notice during the pandemic when bigger studios weren't opening up or they just had less time available, they were booking a lot of smaller studios or they were just booking the engineers to go places. You know, that was also another option. They might not just stop, but they'll try to cut their costs somehow. But my thought, on the other hand, was actually doing live sound again more often. Because right now, I'm not going to lie, this isn't to talk about specific numbers or anything, but if I were to do the shows again by myself and didn't have to pay anybody any like assistant labor or anything like that, working 4 days a month, I make $2,000 off of concerts. You know, 4 days a month. It's really nothing. Imagine if I did it 3 days a month. You know, I'd still have 4 days out of the week to rest, and I'd still make 3 times as much. But the reality is this: your ears you'll lose your ears much faster in live sound and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot more physical labor and everything, but in the recession, people are still going to hold conferences for the city. And that's what I was making a lot of money on before. I used to have private contracts with the city of LA where I would just show up with a little mixer, 2 PA speakers, some lavalier mics, and carry it all around in like a little van. And I'd get paid for a 12-hour day fixed rate pay for like a little 4-hour conference. You know, the funny thing is, all of that was still going on even during the pandemic. There's people still making money off of that. So there's still options of work in audio, but you have to be smart about where to look. If you strictly stay in recording when nobody's recording, then you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
It's funny. I went on Indeed the other day because of this topic, like literally yesterday or the other day. And maybe it wasn't yesterday, of like audio. I just typed in audio to see what's out there. There's a lot of audio jobs out there. Most of them is not stuff that I want to do. It sounds pretty like I'm not trying to work a corporate job. I'm just not a corporate person. But if I really, really needed to, there's a lot of offerings out there. And that was interesting was during the Dave Pensado thing at NAMM, he made a huge point and continued to make many points. I don't think you were there because you were at the Interis booth, but Dave and Herb continue to make many points about anybody can get a job in audio. There's many jobs out there. You just have to look for them and be willing to do things that nobody else is doing. So it's like there's an abundance of jobs out there. You just have to go and get it.
The funny thing is, I'm sure this came up in your interview with him, with Ian Bell. He worked in post-production before coming to work for us. And he was making more than what our head engineers were making per hour. But he did not like his job at all.
Same with Shaq, Bob's assistant.
Yeah, was doing post-production, didn't like his job at all.
I mean, it's not music.
It's not.
Because I'm not in it. I'm
technical.
not engineering because I like engineering. I'm doing engineering because I like music.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to lie. I did post-production for a little bit. I actually ended up working on Futurama for an episode. Never got credited. Don't really care. But it was cool because it was the Abominable Snowman episode where Zoidberg becomes a Abominable Snowman, whatever, a Yeti. And I was working on like the fight scene and stuff like that. Like I was just like a small-time editor. I just got hired 1099 way kind of thing. That shit took hours. Oh my God, having to like go clip for clip for clip for clip, trying to figure out, oh, he hit the wall right there. You have to make a sound effect right there. Hold on, let's go through the many wall sound effects. Yeah, that one fits. Okay, now you have to actually marker, timestamp it and make sure that the samples are put away and this and that, blah, blah. You have these approved samples. You can only work within these domains. And you're like, it was so tedious that I was like, I'm glad I just got hired for this one-time gig. Like, I don't ever want to do this again. But there's people out there who get paid a decent wage to just clean up podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if anybody... No, I don't really want to edit. I don't really edit our podcast. Our podcast episodes are really raw, and I do that on purpose. There's moments where you'll see me like clap and like redo stuff, like when I say something that I probably want to redact.
And then you leave it in.
No, yeah, but I like to leave the conversations raw. Like even when I mess up and like forget what I'm talking about, if it's not too long, if it's not distracting, I'll leave that in. I like the rawness of the podcast. Like that's my favorite thing. Let's go into our next episode. Let's make it real short, like 20 to 30 minutes, if that's cool, because we both have things to do.
There was a topic I was thinking about earlier.
Not acoustic panels? Something else?
No, I mean, we can do acoustic panels. I want to say it actually had to do with the various jobs. But we can do acoustic panels.
We did a jobs in.
You know how when you get in the shower, you're by yourself, you're in your own head, and you have all these great moments and thoughts. I want to get a waterproof notepad so I can write down all my thoughts in the shower.
That's
Don't forget to rub your
Mark
butthole.
Abrams. Mark Abrams said that because Chris Graham. So, well, as far as like we're talking about generations of power, right? That idea, the original idea creator was Brian Hood from Six Figure Home Studio, now called Six Figure Creative, a really good podcast I recommend. Told that to his co-host Chris Graham, who told that to our guest Mark Abrams, who has now passed that down to you.
Oh, okay. Well, I want.
At least
one.
that's the generations that I've seen, and yes, that's a really good idea. I talk to my wife during the shower, so as for anybody that's listened to the episode with me and my wife, we talked. I said that.
Yeah. No, it's just kind of funny because like I remember like thinking, and I can remember my thought right now where it's like, yeah, that'd be great. Like I feel like that would be something that like needs to be talked about. And here I am like, what did I want to talk about? Apparently it wasn't that important. But no, we could talk about
we can talk about NAM.
building, huh?
How
We
we
can talk
met.
about NAM. We can talk about
NAM
the
and how we
importance of
met.
networking at NAM and everything.
Can I talk about networking and passive networking and 2019 NAM for me versus the NAM this year, kind of more like a diary, a journal entry.
Sure.
If that's cool, and we can talk about like networking and just like the differences and how we met and how we've grown in the last thing. So, kind of like not like an update, but almost like an update with some takeaways.
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna start recording. You already sent me your audio, right, for the last episode?
Yes.
All right, let me go to Pro Tools. Oh, I closed Pro Tools?
Yeah, open it up.
Open that Mitch up. Wait, before we start, is it okay if I go to the bathroom? Oh. Sound ID doing its thing again? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Okay, you ready?
Let's see. Do you mind if I go to the bathroom real quick?
Yes.
You
No, I
do
do not mind. I do not mind.
Oh, okay. I was like, I shall hold it.
I'm not gonna record. I'm gonna stop the recording though.
All right,
Pause the
Recording stopped.
Recording stopped. All right, y'all. What up? What up, Nels? Hello, Nels. Long time no talk.
Or C.
Or C. What up? Mitch, please, when are you moving to LA? Next week? Nels, I may have heard a rumor from someone that you moved back to Utah. Is that true? Are you still there? Recording paused. Okay, we're good. How's everybody doing? Who's in the chat right now? Say hello. It seems like we have a lot of people on YouTube. Hello from everybody on YouTube. What up, what up? We're about to get started on another episode. Hello to the subscribers and fans and listeners on Twitch. I think tomorrow's episode, let me look at my calendar here. I think tomorrow's episode that's going to be out on the podcast is our interview with Leslie Brathwaite. I think that is the episode tomorrow. Let me double check. Yes, the episode scheduled for tomorrow is the interview with Leslie Brathwaite. I'm really, really excited to post that one. We had a great conversation with Leslie. And stoked to share that with y'all. Test, test, test. Okay, sweet. Let's see. Let me go through some of these comments. Nels always has weird dreams. I also always have weird dreams. I found out that Pringle can tops are really good as frisbees. Huh? Anyway. Thanks again for joining us on YouTube and on Twitch. We're about to get ready to record another episode here in just a moment. How's everyone doing, huh? Hopefully nobody's invested in Bitcoin in the last little bit. There we go.
Boom.
What
Alrighty. I am now recording.
Oh, I'm not. Hold on.
Recording in progress.
Okay, you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we'll be real quick. This is gonna be a short one. Okay, hello. Hello and welcome back to the Mix of Music Podcast. I am your host, DK, and with me, as always, is my lovely co-host, Lou Moreno.
I will take it. This makes me sound very spicy. It makes me sound very Latin spicy. La la la
Yeah,
la. Ooh.
la 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 loo. Yeah, that was not meant to be. I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna say a nickname. Whatever. La la la
The
la.
Landerous Lou.
Lunar landing Lou.
Lunar landing Lou. Now the real question for everybody listening is, can you prove if I was faked or not?
Oh my gosh, dude! I was on Instant Karma r/Instant Karma on Reddit, and there was a video that popped up of, what was his name?
Armstrong?
Not Armstrong. It was like Buzz. What was his name? The other one.
Oh, Buzz Aldrin?
Yeah, Buzz Aldrin was like signing autographs or something like that. Was giving a speech in the street, and someone, non-believer, came up to him. He's like, "You've been lying to Americans. How dare you?" Basically, just like shouting at him right in his face. And Buzz Aldrin just punched him in the face. And it was a really satisfying video. Old dude, 89-year-old dude, just knocked a non-believer out. It was just funny. So shout out to r/. But
I'm not gonna lie, but like, if it, let's say it's true, because I can't prove or disprove anything, and I don't really personally care to or not. But if I was 89 years old and I actually did something, and somebody walked up to me and be like, "You're a liar," I'd probably hit them just off of like, "Bro, I did my job. Leave me alone."
Anyway, welcome to the Mixed Music Podcast. We have a fun episode today. Lou and I, a couple weeks ago, got back from NAMM. And I want to dedicate this episode to what we've learned in the last 3 years, because Lou and I met officially for the first time at NAMM, at the last NAMM before this. So NAMM
2020.
is 2019. Wait.
Nope, 2020 January.
January 2020, so it was winter 2020.
Yep.
That's right. So it's like, that's the beginning of 2020 was the first time we ever met. And as you know, that's not that long. It's only been a couple years, really. 2.5 years right now. And we've had a lot of success together. I mean, specifically together in the last couple of years. And I want to talk about the differences between last NAMM and this NAMM as far as like what I've learned, because I've also moved to LA during this time, and we've grown this sounds weird, but we've stabilized and grown our relationship since the first time we've ever met. And so kind of
I'm
like
not
a
gonna
look
lie,
back.
but I have been questioned when I say like, "Oh yeah, you should meet my partner DK," and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you were part of that community." And it's like, what are you talking about? The audio community?
The business.
I'm like,
I always say
mean,
business
my
partner.
business partner, I guess I have to say.
Yeah, I always say business partner. That's so funny because I've noticed that a bunch of Australians do that as well, even about like normal relationships, like
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, meet my partner."
my partner, and I'm like intimate partner or like cowboy partner, like my partner. What a howdy partner, like
Nah.
just does not translate in American English as well. Anyway, let's go back into the main topic today. So we went to NAMM. If you're not familiar, we've talked about this many times. We met many of you listeners at NAMM, which was so fun. Thank you so much for reaching out to us, talking to us. NAMM is basically the world's largest music convention that is specifically meant for retailers, companies looking to sell their products. So it's like when everybody announces their new products. It's when Sweetwater gets heavily involved to announce all of the new products on behalf of everybody, and like so it's really meant for these retailers and these companies to kind of share their new stuff and what's going on for the year, what they've all been doing R&D on. But it's also a great place to network and get together with everybody else. So it's just this huge music convention. They also have classes and forums for members and things like that. And Lou and I met again the first time there a couple years ago. So I want to briefly talk about my experience from the first time not being from LA, meeting you, and then since then starting the studio with you, growing our business relationship together, and coming back to NAMM this year as a resident of LA, at least for 2 years, because I'm celebrating almost coming up in a couple months. I've been in LA for 2 years, which is crazy to think about. And so one of the first things I bring up is, Lou, you've been in LA for your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you mentioned, I didn't know this about you, but I think you mentioned this last time that that was like this last NAMM, the one that just happened, may have been like your 6th or your 7th NAMM. So you've been to a lot.
Oh yeah, I've been going to NAMM Since like 2013, and I think there was like a year or two that I didn't go just because I had gone so many times, and I was at a point in my career where it wasn't necessarily useless to go, but I didn't have the mentality that we will talk about throughout this episode of why it's important to go as much as you can when you can. But yeah, seventh one in, if I'm counting it right. This is my fifth one being paid to go.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
I've represented brands like Positive Grid, FabFilter, Antares. Antares I've done 3 times now. So yeah, Positive Grid, FabFilter, and Antares I've repped at NAMM.
That's true. And most of the time, if I'm not mistaken, most people typically have to be endorsed or invited in by a relationship with a company because it is meant for retailers.
Exactly.
So this year they were a lot more loose on it, and there's a lot just of like people that were attending for the sake of attending. But in years past, they have a history of like you have to be like endorsed on the way in. So that's super cool that you were able to go so many years. And to be around that sort of culture, being an LA native, that is so cool. There's so many observations that I could talk about on this episode because I'm not from LA. So there's many LA specific observations that I can make that I know that doesn't exist, for example, in Utah or in Chicago or Virginia as much. The number one thing is that in 2020, the first time I went to NAMM, I did not know anyone. And you came up, I knew one person, which is Henrik, who is part of the Antares group as well. I met him at Mix with Masters in France. And you saw me waiting for Henrik and came up to me because I was looking like a lonely boy, and you decided to reach out to me and just say hi. That moment changed both of our lives forever. So thank you for being brave on my behalf. But I remember 2020, and I'm sure that you have a lot to say about this, is that it was all about the booths, seeing the companies, the products. I was so excited to see all of the offerings from Universal Audio, from FabFilter, and from, Apogee, and all of these different companies and brands, and just like seeing what's up. PMC, ATC, Barefoot Monitors had a big one during the 2020 show, and just a bunch of offerings. But it was interesting this year. It was not at all about the booth. So many people have, just to make small talk, asked me what was my favorite booth. And honestly speaking, I didn't have a favorite because it was my favorite thing about the show was just meeting so many people. So the first biggest takeaway from 2020, not living in LA, in my first show, to this one being only my second show, and living in LA, I did not realize how many people I knew. Like, we were both talking about this, and you've been in LA longer, so of course you'd know more people. But I could barely get to any booths. I just knew so many people. And we're not even talking about like podcast listeners that came up to me and I didn't know who they were. There was a few people that did that, obviously. But like people that I knew, we knew each other. Like we were mutual friends we were just friends and acquaintances, to the point where like I did not feel lonely at all this year. In fact, I felt super confident and very welcomed. And it made me realize not all of that networking was done actively. So we've done episodes in the past about why it's good to live in LA. And in this specific instance, I saw the fruit of my labors in the sense that like passively meeting people, like just maybe it's owning a studio, being a mix engineer. The amount of people that I've passively met in the last couple years without trying is astoundingly a lot. And it really made this year's NAMM totally worth it. And I know that you probably have a lot of thoughts about that as well, as far as like networking and meeting people.
Yeah, honestly speaking, NAMM, I guess you could say for like the longest, what for me was about seeing what's new, because you know me, I love gear. I love it to death. Now, once again, no, it does not make a career any better, but being that we have a commercial location, I'm always interested in what's out there, what everybody's looking into. For instance, like the recent VLC compressors and preamps that are coming out. Everybody's on them. It's just a hot topic item, but like I kind of made it a point this year to kind of prove myself right about why I didn't want to go to NAMM so much anymore for this specific reason. I don't know if you heard me ask everybody. I think I asked you too. Did you see anything that stood out or that you want to buy today And the resounding answer I got 9 out of 10 times was no. Because most times when we go to NAMM, when we first go for the first time, we're like, oh my God, it's like Toys R Us, but for music. It's amazing. Like, look at all the drum sets. Look at these insane designs. I don't know if you saw the SJC drums booth, but SJC can kill it on design. Aesthetic drums galore, and they sound great. But, you know, we saw people like Bob Horn there. We saw people like Tizio there, you know, all people that we know. We saw Baines there. And I asked everybody the same question. And most times they said no, because most of us have what we want / need. But they're there to support someone they know, to go say hi to the reps that support them in our industry, and to just meet up with friends. But this is the one event where people will fly from state to state looking to join, you know, this event because they want to go meet up in person with people they know or have heard of. You went to see Manny Marroquin, who I know you're a big fan of. I know you got a chance to talk to him face to face, but when it came to applying for the studio, you couldn't even get a call back. Not in a bad way, but like, that's how tight knit that group is. It's really hard to get in contact with them. But this was a great event to have an opportunity to be face to face, make your case, and now, not jinxing it or anything, but it sounds like you've got an amazing opportunity in front of you because of going to this event. And that's what I missed out on the years I didn't go on. I didn't actually see the potential of what NAMM had to offer outside of the gear. And once you actually see what NAMM is about, you no longer really care about the gear so much, but rather the opportunities of working together with those manufacturers and seeing what's possible, who you can network with and grow your brand or your business with. Like, I was speaking with Merrick over at Better Maker, and we're talking about doing some content together and doing some tutorial videos, which I'm really excited about. And he introduced me to some of his friends over at Heritage Audio and at ATC and everything, brands that I really like. And for me, it was more about the networking than it was about any of the gear they had to show me.
Yeah, it really was an incredible show, and oh man, I just did not realize there's a couple of things. It's really weird how many people there are, many people that you can network with, but also in the same sense, it was very surreal because there's so much to do, so many people to talk to, but also there's so few people to talk to. You kind of get this glimpse that the music industry is so much bigger than you think it is, but there's also a glimpse into it's way smaller than you think it is too when you niche down into like mixing. Like, how many professional mixers out there that are making full-time career from nothing other than mixing? Honestly speaking, there's probably a couple hundred of us in the entire United States. Maybe not that few. There's a lot more than that. But I mean, like, it kind of feels like that. There's moments where it's like, oh shit, I know all of you. Like,
yeah. Or we've at least met once before.
Yeah, like it's really, at least to a certain level, right? Engineers at a certain level, and it's just really interesting to kind of think about that.
Well, you saw what happened at Bob's after party. Bob Horn, a good friend of ours, had Dutch and Dutch doing a speaker clinic, and me, DK, and the crew were talking. We're all having fun, and then an old friend of mine, a producer by the name of Donut, really cool guy. If you guys look him up, he's done some amazing work. Well, he walks in with this guy I've never seen before, but Donut walks up, says hi. You know, we haven't seen each other since before the pandemic, but guy introduces himself. He's like, hey, I'm Skimmy. I'm like, Skimmy, you're a producer and a mixer? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm Lou. He's like, oh, cool. I'm like, I'm your mastering engineer. We've never met before, but like, the power of NAMM is that everybody's out to go see each other. And it was just really funny. Like, whether you know each other or not, you can run into each other at this thing.
Yeah, it's so cool. I will say that just because people are listening, and I know people want to hear this, I do want to talk about a few products that did stand out to me that I was really excited about.
Ooh.
So first off, quick break. Isotope did not have a booth this year, but we love their products. If you're interested in getting 10% off any Isotope products, or getting, instead of having their 7-day time trial, 7-day trial period. You can get 30 days trial period, extend it to 30 days. Go to isotope.com/mmpodcast or mixingmusicpodcast.com/isotope. It'll take you to the same page for the Mixing Music Podcast Isotope page, which can do that for you. So big shout out to Isotope. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. We love their products. We talk about their products every time. On NAMM Day, they came out with Neutron 4. I don't know if Lou and I got pre-release codes and downloads for Neutron 4.4, so we've been using them for a few weeks before they came out. It's actually a really cool interface. My favorite standout thing from Neutron 4 was actually their saturation circuit. They've now included a few of the trash modules as part of their saturation channel. So
I did not check that out.
So it's not just their like tube, tape, warm, and retro, I think are their 4 normal saturation divisions, but they also have like edgy, scream, whatever, 4 modules from trash that you can blend between, so you can actually have really creative saturation, which now makes it one of the most diverse and flexible saturation distortion plugins in the market right now. Neutron 4, and it's totally included in the everything bundle, in the mixing bundle on, again, isotope.com/mmpodcast. So check that out. Really like their stuff. They're taking a really unique UI design, as well as like look into mixing.
It's very different.
Yeah, because I mean, they kind of like do this half smart mixing type thing where it's like half automated. You just have to check it out. It's really interesting, and quite frankly, it is useful. So as far as like standout ones go, there's one really high end one that you're gonna really find interesting. But I think the one most useful one for me is we're also sponsored by Antares, and Antares came out with the vocal EQ. Have you tried it already?
Oh, dude, I did not talk to you about this, did I?
Yo, I've already used it a bunch. I've been using
beta. I've been using it since it's beta. I was not supposed to talk about it or like bring it up and all that stuff, but I was supposed to know it before the show, obviously. But dude, I hate to admit, every vocal channel that I'm EQing now starts with vocal EQ, and then I might follow it up with Pro Q3. I might not. It's vocal EQ has very quickly and very effectively replaced Pro Q3 for most situations.
So basically, you should look up vocal EQ, and if you're interested in any Antares products, the best deal that you can get is mixingmusicpodcast.com/autotune. So one more time, mixingmusicpodcast.com/autotune will take you to the best deal that you can get on the internet. That being said, yo, it is so good. My favorite thing is, you've heard of Surfer EQ.
Yeah,
so
I have it.
It's basically the same concept as Surfer EQ, except it's auto-tune. So one of the things that you could do is you can track the root note and the root note meaning the first harmonic, right? The first root, and then any harmonics after that. You can track it. So like, let's say if the most foundational lowest note of the singer's voice is too damn loud, you can dip that note and it tracks and it moves the frequency to where the note is. So that way, no matter what register they're singing in, instead of having a static EQ dip, or you can even make it dynamic. A dynamic or a static dip, it moves with the note.
And it's not just the one note, it's the 10 harmonics that you can select. So across a total of 6 bands plus 2 filters plus an air band, you can select any of the 10 harmonics. You can automate all 6 of them to follow the harmonic intervals. But like, it's the craziest part about it, honestly, for me, is the the high pass filter auto tracking. If you wanted to tighten up the low end on a vocal in a very specific way, it's really hard to put a static low cut, and then when they move up the range, like, you're not actually cutting the low end the same way
I didn't think about that.
anymore.
You can have a moving...
So if you put it on the low cut, this is why I use Surfer EQ so much, because Surfer EQ would allow me to do it. But Surfer EQ was good, but it was never really perfect, so I had to use it very gradually. Not only that, but Surfer EQ could never do like very tight notches for when you're trying to do like just like, you know, simple pull downs that you needed to track. Vocal EQ has taken what Surfer EQ was trying to do and multiplied it by 10. Like, it's easily become my favorite vocal EQ.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Did you try the airband?
Yeah, the airband, it sounds really dope as well.
Yeah.
It hasn't taken away FabFilter. The thing about FabFilter is not about what it can do, but for me, it's just the UI. That's the thing,
Yeah.
is that it still takes a third of the amount of clicks to get like a dynamic thing going, or getting an
You're
EQ
right.
curve with the perfect, because especially with the quick keys, holding down command or option, control, shift, or whatever it is, like it's faster, which is why I like Fab. But as far as like, I do use vocal EQ in conjunction with it.
Yeah.
And it's replaced my C6 from Waves.
Okay.
Because I used to use
Yeah.
C6. That's a very Jason Joshua type thing to do. It's replaced my C6.
Yeah, honestly speaking, I'm not gonna lie. For many multi-band compressors, C6 is the one I could never get away from. Like I have the Pro MB and like the McDSP ones and all that, and they all have like a very specific sound to them. But the C6 just seemed to lend itself very nicely to vocals.
Yeah. And I didn't ever use the multi-band function. You know how the C6 has the 2 free bands?
Yep.
That's that's what I would use. It's very
Yeah.
Jason Joshua type thing, except he would use 3 of those according to his mix with the Masters interview, but we won't get into that. Dude, I don't know if you saw, do you know Masalek and Giraffe, right? The
Yeah.
mastering equipment. Most people may not. This is like some high-end gear and some boutique gear,
It's
so I
like
don't
$10,000 for an EQ or compressor.
yeah, 5 to 10. I think it's within the $6,000 range. something
Usually,
like that.
like the 5 to 6 is like their lower end models.
Yeah. Anyway, really cool company, Giraffe. They came out with a new product for this NAMM that I found very interesting. Okay, hear me out. They have a multi-band clipper in the box, and it's huge. It's got like 3 or 4 VU meters on it. There's a general clip for the entire master, entire track, and then they have split band, so like 3 band clipping, so you can clip just the low end, just the mid range, and the amount, and blend them as well.
When you say in the box, you say this is a
It's
plugin?
outboard gear. It's outboard gear.
Oh, okay.
It's outboard gear. Yeah, sorry, in their actual box, like in the
Yeah.
physical unit box, not in the boxes in like digital.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I did not know they went in the box.
Yeah, so what's really interesting about all of this is I'm going to say it's fully passive. Meaning, when I say it's fully passive, remember, this is a clipper, so it's not a passive EQ. As in, it's different. As in, there is no IEC cable. There is no power that runs through the unit at all. There is no way to plug that clipping box into the wall. The only thing that it has is 2 inputs and 2 XLR outputs. That's all it is. It is 100% unpowered. Isn't this so funny?
Giraffe makes this?
Yes, they do. And I tried it, and it sounds amazing. And it has, the VU meters work. And somehow, through all their components, you can actually make something feel louder, even though it's going through no amplification. It can't, because it's a fully passive unit.
Oh my god, it's actually, for their units, it's actually not that expensive. Am I seeing this right? The Geratech 21 Magneto Dynamic.
Yeah, Giraffe.
Dilbulum. It has like 1 big VU and then 3 smaller VUs to the right of it.
And it's like a 4-unit piece, 4U piece.
with handlebars on the sides.
Yep. What is it going for?
$52.95.
That's not bad. I thought it'd be a little bit more.
I'm not gonna lie, as a mastering engineer, like that interests me, like what you're saying. But I'm really curious to see it in action, so I wish I passed by that booth.
It was so cool. It was so cool to listen to. And it was so cool to try. I just was impressed that I thought it was black magic because there was no power going through, so all the VU meters wouldn't light up because there's nothing to power it.
Oh my god, you're right. I'm looking at the back of it.
There's literally, it's weird, right, to see no power supply.
Yeah. Like I'm not gonna lie, like even some of the Pultecs that were passive had a power supply.
Oh, also, real quick, we are gonna have future episodes we're gonna get an affiliate deal with Audis headphones. So I locked in an affiliate.
Yeah.
I locked in an affiliate thing with Audi, so we'll be having a future episode at their factory, hopefully, where we record and interview the people at Audi's about their headphones and about use of headphones. Manny Merrickwood just came out with his headphones, his signature headphones with Audi's. And Lou and I had a lot of fun listening to their flagship headphones, like the $6,000 ones. That shit was crazy.
And then comparing them to the new Manny's.
Super cool. And then that was interesting. I really do think that headphones are going to play a big role in the future. I think that monitors are going to slowly become less and less of a big deal. I think that headphones are going to become a lot more competitive to monitors. I think Audis is kind of the first people to push their ways. I think we got like a couple decades before it fully gets to that point, but I foresee, especially with Atmos and fold down capabilities, instead of people buying a bunch more speakers, I think it's just going to be way easier and cheaper and easier to implement Atmos or anything like it with headphones. So I think we're going to see a big move to headphones, especially with surround listening. But on that note, I think Audis makes great products, and we're going to interested in talking to them. I also locked down a potential interview. I just need to email them, potential interview, and a history lesson about equipment and where different microphones came from, what made them popular, what popular sources they're used on, with one of the engineers at Warm Audio.
Nice.
So we'll get Warm Audio on the show. They agreed to be on, and they're going to talk nerdy with us about kind of historical, hopefully history about different microphone designs and why they became popular and what people tend to use them on, and kind of practical application for everything. So, as you know, this is not an interview podcast. So we don't typically just interview people. We ask them to teach a topic. So if you've listened to any of our episodes in the past, some of them feel like a little bit more interviewing, especially like when I talk to Leslie. I mean, I want to interview the dude. And I think everybody wants us to interview the dude, but most of them are teaching concepts. We want to keep it that way. As you mentioned, I met in person. I'm the biggest fan of Manny Marroquin. And knock on wood, I'm hoping to see some future connections with him, hopefully. Because of that was an incredible thing, seeing him in person. I've met some cool celebrities, and I've never like choked on my words and like fanboyed harder. And then I met Manny, and like I actually like started doing. I was like, oh shit, I can't control this. It was just funny. It was, oh man, I'm such a fanboy for that guy. But anyway, Lou, any other standout things that you noticed from meeting people? You talked about Better Maker. I think is super cool.
So I actually got to know Merrick a little more and talk to him about his
talk
products.
about who Merrick is? Can you talk about who Merrick is?
Yeah, Merrick is actually the owner of Better Maker. He's also a mastering engineer. So, mastering engineer to mastering engineer. Yeah, he's a mastering engineer. He started off as a mastering engineer who, after working for so many projects, is like, dude, there's got to be something. And the idea came from synthesizers. Synthesizers are analog pieces of hardware that have the ability to have presets, and you can save and load your settings. Why is that not possible with other analog gear? Why is it so difficult for that to be something in the industry, was his question. And well, he, instead of finding an answer, he just made the solution in his own garage, in his own studio. He actually started off by building it in his own live room. Like a part of his live room just became like a workshop. And originally he had made like some 500 series units that actually got pretty popular. And from there, he decided to make like the mastering EQ and all that stuff. But it's kind of funny. He let me in on a little tidbit, which is a lot of the clippers that we hear today in plugins, apparently many of them surround his clipper design that's inside of his mastering limiter, which is actually one of the more sought after clippers for a lot of people who are looking to get into analog hardware. But the main reason people want Better Maker is because he managed to find a way to have plug-in control / analog control. Basically, you load up your session, whether it be Fruity Loops, Logic, Pro Tools, whatever. If you have your plugin on your chain, it will automatically recall whatever settings you had during that session. You don't actually have to take a picture of your hardware. You don't have to do any of it. In fact, there's a feature called Snapshot, which allows you to actually jump between settings, like A/B yourself in an analog instant, which is really cool. But we were talking about how he has a fully recallable passive mastering EQ and everything, which actually got me really interested in his
passive
design.
As it's still powered, as in there's still power going through it.
It's still powered for the recallability,
passive,
but the circuit itself is passive.
There you go.
Yeah, which is actually very interesting because, me and you have talked about it. Like, we both have gear. We use it like 1 out of 100 times.
And regret it
for
every
mixing.
time. No, just kidding. I regret it every time.
Yeah. Well,
But that's a
I don't.
workflow issue. That's a DK problem. That's not a
Yeah,
gear problem.
for me, you know me, I'm very much a committer. I'm just like, look, I'm just gonna print it. If there's an issue with it later, I'll fix it later. But most likely, it'll take me 2 seconds because I like having all my stuff pre-patched and whatever. But yeah, it's just funny because like, it's the one time that I'm really looking at gear for long-term use versus satisfying an itch. And that's why I'm liking Bettermaker. I'm looking at Bettermaker as the potential long-term piece of gear for my workflow versus like, oh, everybody's talking about the STA level. Let me check it out. Oh, it sounds great. I'd love to use it on vocals. But then like a week later, I'm like, I'm tired of recalling this. It's annoying. Bettermaker will not have that issue apparently, and I'm really excited to see that implemented into the workflow. Outside of that, there is one thing that caught my eye at NAMM, and it was the Hairchild. I don't know if you checked it out.
Yeah, the new one
Yeah.
from Heritage Audio.
Exactly. Yeah, because I'm sure you know about. Oh my God, why am I blanking on their name? Undertone, the Unfair Child. The Unfair Child is apparently on like an extreme back order, according to them, while the Heritage Audio units are already built and ready to ship. But it's going to be a limited supply in a very extreme case because they could only get access to about 10,000 of these very specific one-of-a-kind tubes. They bought the entire world supply in order to build these units, which actually use 22 tubes per unit. So replacing the tubes on it is going to take 22 specific tubes, varying amounts for each part, but they were only able to get like 1,000 in the world, which is very, very risky if you think about it as a business. So only about like 500 units to about 600 units will be built at about $10,000 each, I believe is what they're retailing at. But the rest of the tubes will be reserved specifically for repair and for maintenance. Outside of that, they have no plans in continuing the line after that without modifying which tubes are being used, but then it wouldn't be the original. So I found it really interesting because I'm like, they're openly admitting to a limited run, that this isn't a long-term item that they believe they can continue selling.
Which is great marketing in itself too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a bunch of cool stuff. We're talking about the pro audio only stuff, but there was a bunch of cool stuff in the music thing. I found out that our lovely friend Braden Flint from Flint Mastering, who is taking lead on the exclusive content. If you're interested in getting 3 times the amount of episodes that are all technical skill based, me and Braden, we do 2 more episodes every week. So 3 times the amount of episodes at mixedmusicpodcast.com/exclusive for $4 a month or $40 a year. You can sign up and get 3 times the amount of episodes. Me and Braden talk about tech tips or like specific techniques on mixing specifically, or production and various things. And it's really, really interesting if you're interested in doing that. Once again, mixedmusicpodcast.com/exclusive. Anyway, so I found out recently that Braden can scratch like a DJ. I forgot that I know him because he used to DJ. And the reason why I knew him previously is because he's DJ'd a couple parties, or like I knew he was the DJ dude in town, and like he had won some like competitions and like won some awards. But he's like a full-on scratching DJ. Like he scratches it, and we went to the DJ table, and bro, he sounds really good.
I've got to hear this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, but like, all right, Braden, you look amazing, but you don't look like a DJ necessarily. Because of this, I need to see it.
Yeah, I have videos. I have proof. But yeah, and then on top of that, as far as like to kind of wrap up this episode, was there any other booths specifically? Going off on Sound Better, or not Sound Better. Sorry, Bettermaker.
Yeah.
I do think that that's kind of like end game products, right? Their Bettermaker limiter. I'm willing to sell all of my gear for that.
Yeah, that's actually the one I told him. So he made my day the other day. He made my day on Saturday, the last time I saw him, because I tell him like, man, and there's no more faceplates for the Darth Vader, is it? The Darth limiter, is there? He's like, wait, you just want a black limiter? I'm like, yeah. I mean, I want the limiter in general, but as you can tell from the way I look, all black is kind of my style, and so is my studio, except for my new ceiling cloud. He's like, I could just make you a custom faceplate. And I was like, oh my God, this man's after my heart.
Bro, I want a purple one.
Yeah, right?
Oh, he could do that.
Yeah, he offered it to me. I was like, yes. Like, now I want to do all the content for you for free at this point. Like, yes, if you can give me a black faceplate, I'll do whatever. I'm working that corner. But no, honestly, the only other thing that caught my attention at NAMM, you know me, I love my Strauss. They're great. But I'm still looking at ATCs. Now, I was thinking about going back to the 45s, and then I heard the 50s. I thought the 50s looked a little small, but they sound massive. They sound huge.
So here's the thing. Maybe it was the context. Maybe that was context. I've listened to the 45s and the 50s right next to each other.
Mhm.
45s sound better and they go a little lower.
Do they?
Yeah.
Because
In that specific context. It may be that's subjective, but we were listening to the 50s in an open room that was not acoustically treated with no soundproofing.
Yeah, and a lot of people just going in the background.
On that note, I did discover something in general after going to listen to Augsburgers. We went to the Strauss booth, which they have a couple speakers with horns on them. I discovered that I really like the sound of horns.
They're great.
That tweeters are like, you can tell when something is a tweeter versus when something is a horn. And that
they're really smooth, aren't they?
Yeah, that might be something that I might venture into in my next thing. I don't know. But it also made me reconfirm how much I like the Strauss. After listening to a bunch of different speakers, the Strauss are not like super amazing and in a few different aspects that other speakers are absolutely amazing at. But the punchiness of the Strauss, for it being a two-way monitor, the mid-range of it, the flexibility of it, the imaging of it, there's something magical about these speakers that I just really, really love. And aesthetics is not one of them. I'm not.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, but like I got a chance to listen to the MF4s, I believe they're called.
Specifically Jesse's pair.
Which is really funny because like the pair that I have is also Jesse's pair.
Jesse's pair has got it going on.
But it's just really funny because like I actually really enjoyed the sound of them. Like, they were very smooth on the top end, which is a big deal for me because I fatigue easily if it's too much.
Horn. I think it's the horn, dude.
I think it's it's got to be the horn because, like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've heard a lot of like, even in live sound, like you hear a lot of live sound systems. Like, once you get into like function one and you get into like horn-driven systems, like their mid-range and top end are always smoother. And when I heard that in like Genelec has done like horn style mid-range drivers and tweeters before too, and when you get to that line, they sound very different than like their 1032s and whatever. But it's literally a whole different sound, and that's kind of what I'm hoping to see. Like, I'm already in talks of doing this. I think I'm just gonna buy the pair of Trio 11s as like a B set for my mastering room. I'm not getting rid of the Strauss or the Questids or anything, but I will get the focals. I'm getting them.
Do you want to sell your Questids?
Not really, because I'm not gonna put them in the A room.
Okay.
I'm gonna put them in my mastering room. But Focal wants me to do like some content videos with them and everything. But the reason I'm gonna do the focals is the same reason why.
Is that the same exact pair that I tested out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Main reason is because like it's kind of like that difference between like the MF and the NF from Strauss, where it's like small versus big speaker. I do kind of miss a little bit of that three-way design, and I know Focal has been described as a brand that actually has like very pleasant speakers. Like, they sound really nice, And I think whenever I have clients who listen to my NF3s, they're like, wow, they sound amazing. Can they go louder? I'm always like really scared. So
'Cause
like
they are
until I
passive.
can afford the MF4s, like I'll just try to work with these two.
Although they do get surprisingly loud. I've made them really loud on accident, and it kind of surprised me. But
No, yeah, same here. But I'm like so scared to like break them because I'm like, if they cost this much to purchase, like what is the repair?
Yeah. So, but anyway, man, we're getting on a tangent. We rarely ever talk about gear on this podcast, but I hope that was.
But notice
was
that
kinda-
what we are talking about is like innovative gear that makes our life easier or monitors.
Yeah. So, last thought, we were talking about horns. So, from what I understand, what I was told, what I was taught during NAM, horns have basically a lot more headroom. But they do kind of like tweeters have a lot. They don't have as much headroom, but they basically infinitely go on. Like for example, they can hit 20K pretty linear, but horns have a roll off at the top end, but they have like a lot more amount of headroom. Also, what I realized is that horns also have a lot more of a lower capacity for like lower frequency. So with
Yeah.
tweeters, you have to have like a crossover from around like 2 to 4K. But with horns, you can set the crossover a little bit lower to around like 1K. So it changes the upper mid range as well as the top end. So it feels smoother and less. So you're talking about smoother, warmer. Dave Pensato during his show said, warm is just another word for dull. Sorry, but that's a tangent. We're not going to go on that. It feels warmer. It feels like smoother and less harsh, but also has a very distinct upper mid-range because of the lower crossover frequency, which is really interesting. I discovered that I actually really like the smoothness of that. I don't know how useful it would be for mixing because I haven't mixed on any speakers with horns, but that might be again another idea that I might dive into in the future. Anyway, I also we were talking. I've reconfirmed that the Strauss sound fucking amazing. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Once again, if you're interested in 3 times the amount of episodes, go to mixedmusicpodcast.com/exclusive, where we have 2 more bonus episodes available every single week. We'll be coming out with merch soon if it's not already available. There's a lot more bonus content and bonus links, Easter eggs on mixingmusicpodcast.com. Go check them out. And on that note, happy mixing, my friends, and stay saucy.
I was gonna bring my hand up, but I hit it on the table.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. I
No,
just
you're all
wanted
good.
to.
Recording stopped.
Recording stopped.
Cool, taking that.
All right, I'm going to end the stream. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool with me.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us on the stream.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Cool, all good. Same here. I'm supposed to jump on a call. I'm bouncing down.